Chapter 155. Boss, this was an accident. I didn't want it, but Li Shanpao had a car accident. Qiao Yuliang quickly explained, so, Xiaochen won the race by luck. Car accident? Luck? I think you might be very happy in your heart, right? Cheng Menjing didn't die. You are very happy, right? Do you really want this? The boss's voice had a penetrating sarcasm. Qiao Yuliang's heart was shocked. He was indeed glad, but he didn't dare to say it out loud. Boss, how is this possible? Everything is based on your plan. It doesn't matter if the woman is sacrificed. Humph. The boss snorted coldly. Who is this driver you invited? He was suppressed by Xiao Chen in 3 consecutive races. An international professional racer is not as good as a prodigal young master. Actually, it's because of Lu Zhenming from the Lu family. If it weren't for Lu Zhenming, Xiao Chen would have died long ago. Qiao Yuliang quickly said, Xiao Chen's car was modified by Lu Zhenming. If it weren't for his car being so good, he would have died in this race. That Lu Zhenming is really hateful. He actually added an auxiliary fuel tank and anti-dazzling sound glass. Oh. From what you mean, you can't do it, so you blame others, right? The boss's tone suddenly became cold. Qiao Yuliang, let me tell you. What I give you now, I can also give to others. If you can't do it, I will replace you. Well, since you said that Lu Zhenming is so powerful, then he is stronger than you. I will support him to do things for me. It's the same. Don't. Boss, I'm sorry. Please give me another chance. Qiao Yuliang was shocked. He was shocked and quickly promised, I will make Xiao Chen die as soon as possible. I'll give you one last chance. Kill Xiao Chen as soon as possible. Otherwise, don't blame me for replacing you. After the boss finished, he hung up the phone. Qiao Yuliang's chest heaved as he held the phone in his hand. No. I will not let others replace me. My achievements today are the result of my perseverance and hard work. I can't give it to others. That is an opportunity that belongs to me, Qiao Yuliang. Xiao Chen, Lu Zhenming, go to hell. After the decoction was done, Xiao Chen drank it all in one gulp. The hot and dry feeling in his body came again. He quickly began to train. However, it was not until 3:00 in the morning that the effect of the medicine passed. There was only a layer of black sludge on Xiao Chen's body. He did not break through again. This also made Xiao Chen feel disappointed, but at the same time, he felt lucky. Even if he broke through again, it was impossible for him to have money to buy medicine. It was better to use this medicine for a few more days. After taking a shower, Xiao Chen hurriedly ran to the morning market street. Tang Tang must be very worried about his situation. It was already late when he came back from buying medicine yesterday. Tang Tang must have gone to bed, so Xiao Chen did not contact her again. All the way to the old Andy's grocery store, Xiao Chen was surprised to find that Tang Tang did not come to the stall today. However, Xiao Chen did not care at first. He began to pack up the things for the stall. However, when he finished packing, Tang Tang did not come, which made Xiao Chen feel a little strange. For a long time, Tang Tang had never been late. She was one step ahead of Xiao Chen every day. Today, Xiao Chen was ready to open the stall, but Tang Tang did not come. Xiao Chen quickly picked up the phone and dialed Tang Tang's number. At first, no one answered. Xiao Chen was slightly shocked. After a while, Tang Tang's weak voice came from the phone, Xiao Chen. It's you, Tang Tang, are you okay? What's wrong with you? Xiao Chen heard that Tang Tang's voice was not quite right. She seemed to be weak, so he asked quickly. Nothing. I feel weak and uncomfortable. Today. I won't go to the stall. I want to sleep a little longer. I'm sorry. Tang Tang said in a daze. Tang Tang, are you sick? I'll go to see you. Where do you live? Xiaochen felt something was wrong when he heard Tang Tang's voice. He was a cultivator. Even if he was sick, he could recover quickly if it was not too serious. However, Tang Tang was an ordinary person. If she was sick and not treated in time, she might cause more trouble. No, it seems that I have a cold. I'll be fine after a rest. Tang Tang said weakly, you don't have to come, how can I do that? Hello? Xiaochen did not expect Tang Tang to hang up the phone. Frowning slightly, Xiaochen turned and walked into the grocery store. At this time, the old auntie had just woken up and was ready to open for business. When she saw Xiaochen coming in, she asked, young man, what's wrong? What's the matter? Auntie, I want to ask. Where is Tang Tang's home? Do you know? Xiaochen asked, she didn't come today. She is sick. I'm going to see her. Her home is just on this street. Then, in the last community, building number 3, but I don't know which unit. The old auntie said, what's wrong? What's wrong with her? Is it serious? It should be a cold. Xiaochen said, then I'll go and look for it. Okay, you can go and ask. The old auntie nodded. Xiaochen didn't go to the stall. Instead, he walked quickly toward the neighborhood. The community at the end of the street was a very old community. It should have been built decades ago. They were all red brick houses, and the highest one was only 3 stories. Building number 3 was easy to find. It was on the side of the road. Xiaochen looked at the 3 units in front of him and released his divine sense spiritual power. She was already very familiar with Tang Tang's smell. It had not rained these 2 days. If Tang Tang passed here every day, it would be very easy for Xiaochen to find her. As for asking others, it was basically impossible. How many people would pay attention to a student who went out early and came back late? Soon, Xiaochen walked to the middle unit. Upstairs, Xiaochen stopped in front of unit 302. Xiaochen could be sure that Tang Tang was renting here. Xiaochen wanted to knock on the door, but he hesitated. Tang Tang was so weak now. Could she get up and open the door for him? Elder Heaven Ancestor, can a cultivator open the door? Xiaochen asked. Damn, do you really think that a cultivator is omnipotent? They can also pick the lock. Elder Heaven Ancestor's speechless voice sounded. Then it seems that I can only knock on the door. Xiaochen stretched out his hand. When he was about to knock on the door, he heard Elder Heaven Ancestor continue to speak. I really admire you. Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice was somewhat helpless. Inject your primordial chi and divine sense spiritual power into the door lock. Let the door lock operate according to your imagination. Then, you can replace the kinetic energy generated by the key. Is that okay? Xiaochen just asked casually. He did not expect that it would work. This cultivator was really omnipotent. Even a martial artist could not do it. A sense of superiority arose spontaneously. Click. Just a weak primordial chi made the door lock open. Tang Tang was at home, so naturally, there was only a small lock. Xiaochen did not spend much effort. This house was also a typical old-fashioned house. There was no decoration inside. As soon as he entered the door, there was a long corridor. On the right side were a bathroom, a kitchen, and a bedroom. It was a typical old-fashioned house. The whole corridor was dim and had no windows. Xiaochen could not help but frown. Tang Tang lived in such an environment every day. After closing the door, Xiaochen walked to the bedroom. The door of the bedroom was not locked, or not locked at all. Who's there? The sound of Xiaochen opening the door might have alerted Tang Tang. The moment Xiaochen opened the bedroom door, he heard Tang Tang's exclamation. Tang Tang was sitting on the bed and looking at the door in horror. She was only wearing a small vest, and her breasts were so huge that Xiaochen was a bit surprised. Usually, Tang Tang wore relatively loose clothes, and it was not obvious. But at this moment, Xiao Chen found that her breasts were several sizes bigger than Jean Bei's. Of course, it was also because Tang Tang was fat in the first place. But according to the ratio, it was indeed shocking. "It's you? Xiao Chen?" Tang Tang was relieved when she saw Xiao Chen. She had thought it was a thief. Tang Tang usually looked like a tough woman, but she was not a warrior. Now that she was sick, she still showed the weak side of a girl unnaturally. However, when Tang Tang calmed down and saw the direction of Xiao Chen's eyes, an inexplicable feeling rose in her heart. Was she a little shy? Or a little happy? But she was not angry at all. "Hey, what are you looking at? You are even looking at me? What a vulgar taste." No matter what Tang Tang thought in her heart, she still put on a disdainful look. "Xiao Chen, you can't be so thirsty, can you? You are so bored by Qing Menjing in the villa that you come to see me? Do you want me to take it off and let you have a closer look?" Ahem. Xiao Chen suddenly blushed. Even he did not know why he went to see Tang Tang before. Perhaps, he did not know when Tang Tang was not just a buddy anymore. Between men and women, how many friends were there that were just buddies? Nothing. "I just saw that you are wearing so little. Will you catch a cold? I am very hot." Tang Tang saw that it was Tang Tang who came, and she lay down in a daze. She really had no strength to support herself. Xiao Chen quickly walked over and touched Tang Tang's forehead. He was shocked. "It's so hot. Do you have a cold? Do you have medicine? I will get it for you." "No." Tang Tang said weakly. Her living conditions were limited, and she would not buy a lot of medicine to store at home. "Then I will buy it." As Xiao Chen said, he quickly ran out of the room and went downstairs. With Xiao Chen's speed, it was still very fast to run from here to the pharmacy. There was a pharmacy near the Morning Street. Xiao Chen had already seen it when he came, and it was open 24 hours. It took less than 10 minutes for Xiao Chen to come back. He did not know where Tang Tang's drinking water was, so he bought 2 bottles of mineral water. Chapter 156. Xiao Chen gave the medicine and mineral water to Tang Tang and watched her take it. Only then did Xiao Chen feel relieved. "Thank you." Tang Tang took the medicine. Maybe it was because of the psychological effect, so she felt a lot better in an instant. "Don't say thank you to me. Aren't you treating me like an outsider?" Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. "You are so sick. Why didn't you call me before? Last night was Saturday. I didn't expect so many people to buy fried dough twists and sesame balls at the night market. I couldn't help it. There were still materials, so I sold them until midnight. Maybe it was cold at night and I caught a cold. When I came back, I slept until you called me." Tang Tang said, "As a result, I overslept. When I got up, I found that I was so uncomfortable. It's all my fault. I went to the car race yesterday and let you support it alone." Xiao Chen said apologetically, "If I have something to do in the future, you can close the stall. I'm not that weak. Yesterday was an exception. I used to be alone, and I wasn't sick." Tang Tang shook her head and said, "I really didn't find it. Xiao Chen, you are very caring and caring for people. Did you do it as Qing Menjing's servant?" Sweat. What does it matter? Xiao Chen didn't expect that Tang Tang would mention this when she was sick. "In my opinion, you and Qing Menjing have no hope, so just give up. There are plenty of fish in the sea. Why do you have to go back to her?" Tang Tang said, "By the way, I have a distant cousin. I will introduce her to you. She is not worse than Qing Menjing." "You don't have to." Xiao Chen was a little speechless. "Do I look so thirsty?" It must be the look in my eyes that made Tang Tang misunderstand, but that was a man's nature. "Why not? I'll give you something to think about, so you don't have to fantasize about me." Tang Tang said, took out her mobile phone and searched for a long time. Then she handed a photo to Xiao Chen and said, "Let me show you." Is it better than Qingmenjiang? This. I don't want to see it, Xiaochen said. I have to see it. Tang Tang insisted. Xiaochen had no choice but to take the phone. However, when he looked at it, his breath stagnated. Tang Tang did not lie to him. The girl in the photo was a national beauty. She was not inferior to Qingmenjiang. Moreover, her figure seemed to be better than that of the young lady. Her plump chest seemed to have inherited the same genes as Tang Tang. The girl's eyes were very big and lively. She had a simple ponytail and was wearing a school uniform. Under the setting sun, she looked very charming. If this photo was posted on the internet, it would probably become very popular. Needless to say, Tang Tang's cousin really attracted Xiaochen. Of course, it was just an attraction. Xiaochen would not unrealistically have a crush on a photo. Well, I didn't lie to you, did I? Tang Tang looked at Xiaochen's stunned expression and said proudly. It's beautiful indeed, but not my cup of tea. Xiaochen returned the phone to Tang Tang. Why? Tang Tang was slightly stunned. I don't know anyone. It's just a virtual person. Who knows what her personality is like? Xiaochen said with a smile, so, I'd better stay with you and Fry Youtiao. Even if she doesn't have Qingmenjiang's family background, with this kind of beautiful and refined appearance, even if she is a collateral relative of your Tang family, I'm afraid I won't have a chance. That's not necessarily true. Maybe she likes fried youtiao. Tang Tang said. Pfft. As if you can represent her. Xiaochen smiled. It's not like I can't live without a girlfriend. Don't worry about this for me. Forget it, but you may not have no hope. Tang Tang put away the phone and looked at Xiaochen with a smile. Okay, if she comes to me to confess, I will accept it. Is that okay? Xiaochen didn't want to discuss this topic again, so he said. Okay. Tang Tang seemed to be very happy, but after talking with Xiaochen for a long time, the effect of the drug also came, and she was a little sleepy. I'm sleepy. I want to sleep. Do you want to go to school? How can I go to school when you are like this? Besides, today is Sunday. Tang Tang, you're sleepy. Xiaochen was almost stunned by Tang Tang. Oh, okay, I'm going to sleep. You can do whatever you want. The four walls of the house are bare. You can create your own fun. While I'm asleep, you can send a photo of my cousin. Tang Tang said and closed her eyes. Xiaochen suddenly broke into a sweat. This Tang Tang is really my buddy. She even dares to say this. He just wanted to say that there is no need to compare the photos. It's fine for you. But after thinking about it, he didn't say it. If Tang Tang said you do it, then Xiaochen would be a fool. Seeing that Tang Tang's breathing became even, Xiaochen touched her forehead and found that it was not very hot. Then he was relieved and got up to walk around the room. The structure of the house in the past was similar to a hotel. There was no living room, but the bedroom was very big. Xiaochen took a simple look. There was a desk, a bookshelf, and Tang Tang's bed. The four walls of the house are really bare. This kind of ascetic life may be nothing for Kerlin, but for Tang Tang, who had lived a rich life, it was really not easy. Even the most basic TV was not available. He didn't know what Tang Tang played every day. But thinking about it, Tang Tang was different from him. She sold fried dough sticks in the morning, went home at night, reviewed her homework, and went to bed quickly. How could she have time to play? On the bookshelf, there was a pile of review materials. It seemed that Tang Tang was also very diligent. Her family didn't want her, so she could only rely on herself in the future. Thinking about Xiaochen himself, if he hadn't accidentally embarked on the road of cultivation, then the road of life in the future would be similar to Tang Tang. Hey? What is this? Xiaochen suddenly saw a photo on the bookshelf. He thought it was Tang Tang's photo, but when he picked it up, it turned out to be Tang Tang's cousin. Of course, it was not the one he saw on the mobile phone before. This photo should be taken earlier, because in the photo, Tang Tang's cousin was still a little immature, but the little beauty had already taken shape. Shaking his head, Xiaochen put the photo back. Xiaochen didn't want to look at things that didn't belong to him. If he really wanted to see beautiful women, he could search a lot of them on the internet. He just didn't know why Tang Tang still had her cousin's photo. Was Tang Tang really a tomboy and liked beautiful women? Xiaochen thought about it and felt that his imagination was too rich. Tang Tang was normal except that she often joked with him. However, even Xiaochen, who was more determined, saw Tang Tang's cousin's photo. He was a little relaxed and happy. If he was still the carefree Xiaochen before, maybe he might be tempted. But now, Xiaochen had so many things and pressures every day. He didn't have enough time to cultivate. How could he have time to pick up girls? Xiaochen wandered in Tang Tang's bedroom for more than an hour. Tang Tang woke up and saw that Xiaochen was still there. Her face suddenly showed a smile. Xiaochen, you haven't left yet. You are sick. Of course, I have to accompany you. Let me cook something for you. Did you eat last night? Asked Xiaochen. Yesterday, Sister Lin sent me some noodles. Tang Tang said, but I was too busy. It was cold when I ate it. Sister Lin? Xiaochen was stunned. It's Lin, said Tang Tang. Oh, why do you call her Sister Lin? Xiaochen thought that this title was a bit funny, but it was also appropriate. Wasn't Lin also soft and weak? She is younger than me. Just call her that. Tang Tang smiled and said, why? Are you not happy to call your little lover sister? Sweat, what are you talking about? I'm going to cook something for you. Xiaochen shook his head and walked out of the bedroom quickly. Tang Tang looked at Xiaochen's back and smiled slightly. There were not many children of aristocratic families who could be as considerate as Xiaochen. Don't look at how Lu Zhenming pursued Qing Menjing all day long. Let him cook a meal. He pursued Qing Menjing. Qing Menjing was beautiful, but the most important thing was the Qing family's family background. Otherwise, there were so many beautiful women. With the ability of Lu Zhenming's family, where couldn't he find them? There were so many girls in the nightclub. It was impossible that there were no beautiful girls. Tang Tang's bedroom was bare, and the kitchen was the same. After Xiaochen walked in, he suddenly felt like he couldn't cook without rice. However, there were still rice and eggs. Tang Tang couldn't eat anything because she was sick. Xiaochen simply boiled a pot of porridge, boiled 2 poached eggs, and brought it over. So fast. Tang Tang didn't expect that Xiaochen almost went in and out. He came back in less than 10 minutes. She was a little puzzled. Can this rice porridge be done in 10 minutes? What she didn't know was that Xiaochen was afraid that she was hungry, so he directly added primordial qi to speed up the cooking. In order for Tang Tang to have a meal, Xiaochen was not stingy with his primordial qi. He didn't know when Tang Tang had become a very important person in Xiaochen's life. In the past, except for Zhu Yingxiong, it was difficult for Xiaochen to find such a feeling of treating each other with sincerity. When it came to Zhu Yingxiong, Xiaochen had some doubts. Why has this kid been so quiet recently? He didn't come to the second high school to find me. Don't forget what we do. It's an ancestral breakfast business. Xiaochen said. Pfft. If your words are heard by old Master Xiao, he will be furious. Tang Tang couldn't help but laugh after listening. She sat up and picked up the spoon, ready to enjoy the breakfast that Xiaochen customized for her. The Xiao family's affairs have nothing to do with me. I was kicked out and set up my own business, so I am the first generation. Isn't it ancestral? Xiaochen said with a smile, try it. It's delicious. Tang Tang drank a mouthful of rice porridge and suddenly widened her eyes. Is there such a delicious rice porridge in the world? However, Xiaochen used 10 minutes. Is this made with a pressure cooker? How can it be so delicious? If it's not delicious, can it be called ancestral? Look at our fried dough sticks and soybean milk. Who can compete with it? Xiao Chen said with a smile, "Ha, in fact, you are hungry." Chapter 157. It's all primordial energy. How can it not be delicious? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly in his heart. Really? Tang Tang thought about it. Is it because Xiao Chen specially made it for me? Is it because I have a psychological effect? After wolfing down the breakfast, Tang Tang's complexion recovered a lot. What do you want to eat at noon? I'll buy something. There's nothing at your house. Xiao Chen spread his hands and said. Don't bother. I'm better. Let's go to the stall. Tang Tang didn't forget to make money. Today is the weekend. There are many people. We'll lose a lot of money in a day. That won't do. You haven't recovered yet. If you go to the stall, it will worsen your condition. Xiao Chen said quickly, we're not in a hurry today. Let's talk about it after we make money. AI, okay. I'll listen to you. I'll be lazy for a day. Tang Tang was really weak. She could still stand up, but it would be very tiring. Since Xiao Chen insisted, Tang Tang became dependent on him, so she went with the flow and collapsed. I'll go out to buy groceries. Xiao Chen nodded. You sleep for a while. Okay. Tang Tang looked at Xiao Chen and suddenly had a very happy feeling. She was like a sick wife being taken care of by her husband. Tang Tang didn't know why she suddenly had such a feeling, is it? I've been a girl for too long, and I suddenly don't want to be one? No, Tang Tang, you have to be a girl now. You can't think so many messy things. Right. Xiao Chen didn't know what Tang Tang was thinking. Seeing Tang Tang's blurred eyes, he thought she was still sick and dizzy. Out of the door, Xiao Chen ran directly to the morning market street to buy groceries, but he was thinking about how to get money. A single dose of medicine from last night had made him penniless. At the latest, he would need 3 days, which was the night of the day after tomorrow, to raise 2.5 million yuan. Even then, it might not be enough. As usual, Lin Kuo happily went to look for Tang Tang and Xiao Chen with a plate of noodles, preparing to trade for some youtiao. However, when she came to Xiao Chen's stall today, she saw that it was empty. There was only the glaring stall number on the ground, but no one was there. She was shocked. The morning market had its own rules. Everyone had a stall number. Even if that person didn't come, they couldn't just take up a stall. They had to get approval from the market management office. Lin subconsciously wondered if it was red hair or the big guy from yesterday's dojo who came looking for trouble, causing Xiao Chen to be unable to continue setting up his stall. The burly man from the dojo yesterday, Jing Qianzhu, was the most likely suspect. Thinking of this, Lin suddenly felt guilty. If he hadn't been careless, how could he have bumped into that person? Then, Xiao Chen wouldn't have stood up for him. As a result, he got himself into trouble. Lin Kuo had been selling noodles here for a long time, and had heard many rumors about the morning market. Those stall owners who offended the local ruffians were all punished until they hovered between life and death, and had no choice but to leave this place in the end. Could it be that Xiao Chen was the same? While worrying about her gains and losses, Lin Kuo stood there foolishly with the noodles in her hands. Although the passers-by were a little curious, no one bothered her. They all thought that she was here to deliver the noodles and was waiting for someone. Lin. Xiao Chen came to the morning market and subconsciously glanced at his stall. He didn't expect to see Lin. Ah. Xiao Chen, I'm sorry. Lin saw Xiao Chen came by himself without a cart, which confirmed Lin's guess. She thought he couldn't come and had to go to the market management office to register for the transfer of his stall. I'm sorry. Lin's sudden apology made Xiao Chen confused. He didn't know what Lin had done to him. It seemed like there wasn't anything. It's all my fault. I wasn't careful when I walked, and bumped into someone. They'll take revenge on you, and you can't set up your stall here anymore. As she spoke, Lin's tears were about to fall. Xiao Chen's "I'm sorry" made Kerlin think that he was sneering and mocking her. She felt even more uncomfortable. I know this stall is very important to you, but I didn't mean it. How about? If you want to pursue me, that's fine too. Kerlin really didn't know how to make it up to Xiao Chen. Speaking of giving Xiao Chen money, she didn't have it. Her family's life wasn't easy. How could she have money to give to Xiao Chen? After thinking about it, she could only compensate Xiao Chen with herself. What are you talking about? Kerlin, what the hell are you talking about? Xiao Chen was even more confused. Why is this chick talking more and more out of line? Kerlin took a closer look at Xiao Chen's expression. It didn't look like the anger and sadness of not being able to set up a stall at all, but he seemed to really have some doubts. Suddenly, she was also puzzled. Were you threatened by Basketball Zhang from the martial arts dojo yesterday and couldn't set up a stall here? Martial arts dojo? Basketball Zhang? Xiao Chen was stunned and said, his martial arts dojo was destroyed by young Master Lu yesterday. I'm afraid he is still worried about his livelihood. How can he have the leisure to trouble me? Destroyed? Lin Kuer smacked her lips. It was very difficult for her to imagine that a dojo would be razed to the ground just like that. However, she also knew that in the eyes of these hedonistic young masters, this matter was really nothing much. Wasn't Xiao Chen the same in the past? She sighed. It seemed that she was too naive after all. Even if Xiao Chen was driven out of the Xiao family, there was no shortage of aristocratic children around him to help him. He was still the same as before. He was still the arrogant playboy. How could he suffer losses? Yeah, you don't have to worry. By the way, what are you doing? Xiao Chen looked at the board in Kerlin's hand and asked, are you going to deliver food? And, isn't this for you and Sister Tang? But when I saw that you weren't here, I thought something happened to you. Kerlin explained in a low voice. It turns out to be like this. No wonder. Xiao Chen suddenly understood, Tang is sick today. I went to take care of her, so I didn't come to the stall. But I haven't eaten yet. Since you have made the board noodles, I will eat it. But there is no fried dough sticks to repay you. No need. Kerlin shook her head. Xiao Chen had taken care of her, so she said quickly. Hee. Xiao Chen took the board noodles and came to the breakfast table on the roadside. There were 2 bowls of board noodles, so he said, you have a bowl. There are no fried dough sticks today. You have to eat it when you go back. It's better to eat it while it's hot. Kerlin nodded with a red face and sat opposite to Xiao Chen, taking a bowl of board noodles. Kerlin lowered her head and ate it in small bites. Her delicate little face was red. She didn't know if it was because of the spicy board noodles or because of shyness. This was the first time she sat with Xiao Chen and ate face to face. She was shy and timid. Xiao Chen's image of a playboy was deeply rooted in people's hearts. Kerlin didn't dare to have more contact with him, for fear that she would be played with emotionally and couldn't find a place to cry. This was because there were too many bad rumors about young Master Xiao. Of course, these were all fabricated by Chao Yuliang in order to destroy Xiao Chen's image in Qing Menjing's heart. However, the worse Xiao Chen's reputation was at that time, the more secure he felt, so he didn't come out to refute the rumors. It was tantamount to acquiescing. Therefore, in the eyes of Kerlin, Xiao Chen was such a person. She was just an ordinary girl. She just wanted to find a boyfriend who loved her and she loved him. The two of them would accompany each other for a lifetime. She didn't want wealth, but she didn't want to leave. Obviously, Xiao Chen wasn't her ideal candidate. Although she almost became his girlfriend several times when she was impulsive, she was covered in cold sweat afterwards. If she was played with by Xiao Chen, it would be fine. If she was dumped halfway, then Kerlin could only commit suicide out of shame. She was a traditional girl. What she wanted was to be faithful to the end. She didn't envy or like the life of those beautiful young models. She didn't look forward to it. She couldn't imagine what it would be like if she followed a man and then a second man. Therefore, Kerlin lowered her head and was careful. She didn't dare to look directly at Xiao Chen. She just ate the noodles in small bites. Xiao Chen, on the other hand, didn't think too much about it. He thought that all girls ate like this, or at least the first miss was the same. He, on the other hand, wolfed down his food. The bowl of noodles was quickly finished, while Lin Kuer, who was sitting opposite him, had only eaten less than half of it. I'm full. Before, when Xiao Chen ate with her, Kerlin could barely eat. Now that Xiao Chen finished eating and watched her eat, how could she still eat? You're full. Your appetite is so small. Xiao Chen looked at Kerlin's bowl that still had half a bowl left. This is really a waste. I haven't eaten enough yet. And I usually don't eat much. Kerlin said. If you don't eat, then let me eat. As Xiao Chen said this, he took the remaining half bowl of noodles from Kerlin and ate it. Ah. Kerlin's pretty face blushed. Xiao Chen ate her remaining noodles. What does this mean? Only a couple would do this, right? Is Xiao Chen hinting something? Or did he take what I said just now seriously? However, I said that I want him to pursue me, but the premise is that I can't set up a stall. Now that everything is fine, why is he still like this? Moreover, even if it's a pursuit, I haven't agreed yet. Just like that, Lin Kuer's thoughts were all over the place. Xiao Chen had also finished his noodles, and even drank the soup before stopping. Not bad, it's delicious. Xiao Chen actually praised the noodles itself, but he said so after eating Kerlin's leftover noodles. Inevitably, he was misunderstood by Kerlin. Ah. Is it? Lin Kuer's face was so red that water was about to drip out. She bit her lips, not knowing what to do. Faced with Xiao Chen's hints and teasing, Lin Kuer could only act innocent to hide the panic in her heart. Well, for the first time, I found that the noodles are so delicious. Xiao Chen nodded and casually praised. In fact, it was also because he was hungry. Before, he only cared about Tang Tang, and he didn't eat a bite. He didn't eat last night, how could he not be hungry? Chapter 158. However, his casual compliment made Kerlin's heart turn. Kerlin felt that Xiao Chen really wanted to do something to her. This made Kerlin stand up subconsciously. I'm going back. I have something to do at home, okay, I'll see you off. I'm going to buy groceries and cook for you at noon. Xiao Chen also stood up and said. He didn't notice Kerlin's strangeness. Moreover, Kerlin used to be so weak. Ah. Kerlin was shocked, but she couldn't refuse. She couldn't say that she didn't need to see him off, could she? That would be too unreasonable. After all, Xiao Chen had helped her many times. If it weren't for Xiao Chen, let alone yesterday, she would have been taken away by that rich young master and had sex with him. Therefore, it was not impossible to give it to Xiao Chen, but Kerlin was not reconciled. She didn't think that Xiao Chen would really like her. Therefore, with these messy things, Kerlin stood up in a daze and almost forgot to take away the empty bowl. Fortunately, Xiao Chen thought about it and helped her to take it. The two walked forward like this. Kerlin lowered her head, as if she had lost money, and didn't lift her eyes, which made Xiao Chen a little speechless. She was going to bump into someone again. Therefore, when he saw a blind man with a cane coming in front of him, Xiao Chen subconsciously pulled Kerlin and wanted to pull her away. However, Kerlin seemed to be frightened and suddenly avoided him. Kerlin thought that Xiao Chen wanted to hold her hand. She was annoyed in her heart. Although she was a girl from a poor family, he couldn't be so frivolous. Shouldn't he pursue her? Why don't you hold Xing Menjing's hand? Xiao Chen didn't think much of it. He thought that Kerlin immediately reacted and dodged the blind man. When they were about to arrive at Kerlin's stall, Xiao Chen returned the empty bowl to her. Because there was a vegetable stall nearby, Xiao Chen stopped. Thank you for your noodles. See you tomorrow. Oh. Kerlin took the empty bowl and bit her lip. My noodles? Is he talking about the noodles I've eaten before? Kerlin didn't dare to ask. She was afraid of Xiao Chen, so she could only hold it in and go back with the empty bowl. How could Xiao Chen know what Kerlin was thinking? He squatted down and began to pick the vegetables. The current Xiao Chen was also an expert at buying vegetables. If it was in the past, he probably wouldn't even be able to tell the difference between spinach and rape. Being a servant really trained people. Xiao Chen sighed. Xiao Chen bargained and bought a bag of vegetables and meat. He was a poor man now. His pocket was cleaner than his face, so he had to save money. Although Xiao Chen couldn't say that he spent money like water, he also regarded money as dirt and never cared about it. Wait a minute. When Xiao Chen paid and was about to leave, he heard someone calling him. The reason why he knew it was because the voice was Kerlin's. Kerlin, why are you back? What's the matter? Xiao Chen looked at Kerlin with some doubts. That big sister Tang Tang is usually very nice to me. She's sick, and I want to visit her. Lin Kuer said shyly. After she went back, she thought about it and decided that she should visit Tang Tang, so she told her mother. After all, it wasn't the time to eat and there wasn't any business. Of course, no problem. Let's go together. Xiao Chen nodded, but he didn't think much. After all, Tang Tang and Kerlin got along well. However, when he saw the 10 yuan in Kerlin's hand, Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. You still want to buy something? You don't have to, right? I want to buy some fruit. Kerlin finally got 20 yuan as pocket money. The price she paid was to get into the top 10 in the next exam and get a scholarship. Don't bother. Xiao Chen shook his head and said, let's go now. I'd better buy some fruit. Although Kerlin was weak, she had a trace of stubbornness. Okay. Xiao Chen saw Kerlin's determination, so he didn't stop her. He nodded and came to a fruit stall with Kerlin. The fruits in the morning market were not expensive, they were all very cheap goods. You could buy quite a lot of them with just $10, filling up the entire bag. After Lin Kuer paid, Xiao Chen snatched it away first. Kerlin pursed her lips. She didn't say anything for Xiao Chen's help. Xiao Chen walked in front, and Kerlin carefully followed behind. She kept taking half a step back like a little attendant. The two people walked to the old-fashioned residential building of Tang Tang's house. Kerlin and Xiao Chen walked into the unit together, but the gloominess and darkness inside made Kerlin slightly shocked. The corridor glass of this old-fashioned building was broken because of years of disrepair. In order to prevent wind from leaking in winter, it was nailed. As a result, there was no light at all during the day. In addition, there were no voice-controlled lights in the corridor, so the entire corridor was dark. It made people feel uncomfortable when they entered. Why does Sister Tang live in such a broken place? It's so gloomy. Lin Kuer could not help but feel a little nervous. She sneaked a glance at Xiao Chen and thought to herself, could it be that this was not Tang Tang's house, but Xiao Chen had purposely lured her to this gloomy place to do something to her? Although Lin Kuer's house was a bungalow, it wasn't this gloomy. This place was really too scary, and there wasn't even the slightest movement in the hallway. Lin Kuer was really afraid that Xiao Chen was plotting against her. It was really hard for her to imagine that a girl would rent such a scary place. Wasn't she afraid? Logically speaking, it shouldn't be. Therefore, Kerlin felt that Xiao Chen was lying to her. Is it here? Kerlin couldn't help but ask. Yeah, what's wrong with you? Xiao Chen turned his head and saw that Kerlin didn't go, so he couldn't help but feel strange. No, nothing. Kerlin only dared to go upstairs when she heard Xiao Chen's affirmation. But she kept whispering in her heart, how horrible. She trembled all the way to the top floor. She saw that Xiao Chen didn't take the key or knock on the door, but directly opened the door. She couldn't help but be shocked. If she was at home, how could she not lock the door? In such a gloomy place, how could a girl not lock the door at home? But Xiao Chen opened the door as soon as he pulled it. Was this an abandoned hut? Did Xiao Chen trick her to come here? Lin was a little trembling when she thought of this. She didn't know whether to go forward or retreat, so she just stood at the door in a daze. Xiao Chen went in, and when he turned his head, he found that Lin was still standing at the door. He couldn't help but be stunned. Lin, what are you doing? Why don't you come in? Ah. Here. Is it really sister's home? Lin's breath was a little short. Xiao Chen, are you back? Is there someone else? Before Xiao Chen spoke, there came the voice of inquiry from inside the house. Lin's previous sense of fear disappeared in an instant. She couldn't help but blush a little. She really misunderstood Xiao Chen. He is actually quite honest, isn't he? It seems that he didn't coerce me. Oh, Lin, why do you think so badly of him? Don't do it next time. Sister Tang, it's me. I heard that you were sick, so I came to see you. Lin walked in and closed the door, then quickly walked to the bedroom inside. Ah, it's Sister Lin. Tang heard Lin's voice and was a little surprised. Why are you here? Xiao Chen, did you deliberately tell him? No, Kuer came to our stall to deliver the board noodles, and found that we didn't open the stall, so I just met her. Xiao Chen said and raised the fruit in his hand. Tang, this is specially bought by Kuer for you. You also bought something? Tang sat up from the bed. Xiao Chen, you go and wash up. Let's eat together. Sister Lin, come and sit here. The house is too shabby, and there isn't even a sofa. Don't laugh at me, just sit on the bed. How come? My house is almost the same. Lin shook her head quickly. She didn't seem to think that there was anything wrong with her house being as shabby as here. It seemed that she was not a vain girl. Xiao Chen took the fruit to the kitchen to wash. After washing, there was a slightly rotten apple. Xiao Chen didn't put it on the plate, but directly put it into his mouth. But when he ate it, he suddenly frowned. Damn, how can there be such a bad apple in the world? It's not sour nor sweet. It's like a melon egg. It can be stewed with potatoes. No wonder it's sold so cheaply. It seems that I've been cheated. Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. If he were to bring it up, not only would Tang not eat it, Lin Kuer would definitely feel embarrassed because of the loss of face. Therefore, Xiao Chen had no choice but to extend his hand and infuse a strand of yuan qi into each fruit. No matter how unpalatable they were in the past, they had now become a delicacy in the world. After doing all this, Xiao Chen took the fruit and put it on Tang's pillow. It's washed. You two eat together. I just ate a rotten one. It's delicious. Okay. Tang didn't hesitate. She picked up an apple and handed it to Lin. Then she picked up another one and put it into her mouth. She took a bite. But when she ate it, Tang suddenly widened her eyes. Oh my God, where did you buy this apple? How can it be so delicious? It's more delicious than the pollution-free natural green apple I've eaten before. Ah. Really? Lin suddenly became happy. There's a fruit stall on the morning market street. Lin also took a small bite. It was so delicious that she almost cried. She had never eaten such delicious fruit since she was a child. It was so delicious. It was sweet and sour. It didn't seem to be an apple, but a fairy fruit. Xiao Chen, you eat it too. This apple is really delicious. Tang said, I didn't expect that the fruit on the morning market street would be so delicious. I thought it was bought in the imported fruit supermarket. Domestic products are also very strong now, the best strong fruit. Xiao Chen said, but I won't eat it. I don't like fruit. Chapter 159. Xiao Chen could make some whenever he wanted to eat. He didn't have to fight with them. Kerlin ate one and wanted to eat more, but she was a little embarrassed. Although she bought the apple herself, it was for Tang Tang. It was already delivered. If she ate more, it would seem very stingy. Eat another one. I can't eat so much. Tang Tang seemed to be able to read Kerlin's mind. She picked up another apple and handed it to her. In fact, Kerlin was a very simple person. Whatever she thought, she basically showed it on her face. Okay then. Kerlin took the apple. She really couldn't resist the temptation and ate it again. You guys talk. I'll cook for you. Cooler, eat here at noon. Try my cooking, said Xiao Chen. You can cook. Kerlin looked at Xiao Chen incredulously. This is a different person from the Xiao Chen I know. According to the rumor in the school, Xiao Chen didn't even know what the fried noodles in the snack bar were. How could he cook now? Of course, the fried dough sticks you eat every day are fried by me. What's so strange about it? Said Xiao Chen. I mean other dishes. Said Kerlin curiously. I know a little. I just learned it. You can try it. Xiao Chen said as he walked out of the bedroom and went to the kitchen. Sister Lin, you don't know? Xiao Chen is very powerful now. Everything he makes is delicious. Tang Tang said to Kerlin. Really? Kerlin shook her head incredulously. He seems to, really change. Yeah, I also find it hard to believe that a playboy young master will become an inspirational silk man. He only needs to counterattack the goddess. Then he is a role model, said Tang Tang. Counterattack the goddess? Kerlin blushed, but she could still understand this word. Are you talking about Qing Menjing? Yeah, but Xiao Chen seems to be interested in you, Tang Tang said. Oh really? Kerlin stuttered. He's just kidding, how could he like me? I'm just a poor girl, haha, isn't he as poor now? Tang Tang laughed. Naturally, Xiao Chen did not pay attention to what Tang Tang and Kerlin talked about. He could hear it if he wanted to, but he did not want to pry into other people's privacy. After washing the vegetables and meat, Xiao Chen began to cook. A vegetable with mushrooms, a hot and sour bean sprouts, a pot of cauliflower, and a pot of alfalfa tomatoes were all simple home-cooked dishes, and they were very appetizing. However, under Xiao Chen's cooking, whether it was the appearance or the taste, it was at the level of a top hotel. Xiao Chen brought the dishes into the room one by one. Tang Tang lived in an old-fashioned residential building with a small kitchen and no dining room, so she could only eat in the house. The fragrant dishes suddenly made Tang Tang and Kerlin's eyes widen. To be honest, Tang Tang knew that Xiao Chen could cook, but she did not know that he could cook so well. After all, a good deep-fried dough stick did not mean that other dishes could be cooked well. If you asked a noodle house chef to cook, I'm afraid that he would not be able to cook well. However, Xiao Chen seemed to be really good at cooking. Even without eating, it was already mouth-watering. Okay, let's eat. Xiao Chen said as he set the bowls and chopsticks. Xiao Chen, let's talk about it. Why don't we open a big restaurant together? Tang Tang took a bite of the mushrooms and suddenly narrowed her eyes, looking at Xiao Chen. Are you sure you want to drop out of school? Asked Xiao Chen. Then forget it. Tang Tang was just thinking about it. Her dream was to open a luxury hotel, but it was obviously not the time. After Lin Kuer ate it, it was so delicious that she cried. However, she immediately thought of her family's noodle stall. If she could get Xiao Chen to help her make it, wouldn't she be able to earn a lot of money? Then my parents should not be so fussy about small money every day. At least my life would be guaranteed, right? Thinking of her mother at home, she felt that it was a waste to turn on the electric light for a while every day. Kerlin felt a little sad. Thinking of these unhappy things, although Kerlin was eating, although the food was delicious, her mood was a little heavy. Sister Lin, what's wrong with you? You seem to be very unhappy. Tang Tang looked at Kerlin's unhappy look and suddenly felt a little strange. She didn't know what was wrong with her. No, nothing. Lin shook her head. Naturally, she couldn't complain to Tang Tang about the bitter things of her own family. Tang Tang's living environment was not necessarily better than hers. She said this as if she was complaining. Then why don't you smile at all? Is the food cooked by Xiao Chen not delicious? Tang Tang asked strangely. No, it's delicious. Lin gritted her teeth and finally gathered up the courage. If my family's noodle can be so delicious, it would be good, huh? Tang Tang finally understood what Lin was struggling about. Her family's noodle was not bad, but the taste was too ordinary. Like other beef noodle, it tasted the same. There was no special feature, so the business was not booming. It was definitely not a problem to have enough food, but it was not easy to make money. Let Xiao Chen help you. The chef is right in front of you. What are you still struggling about? Or forget it. Lin shook her head. If Xiao Chen helped her make beef noodle, let's not talk about whether her mother would agree. Even if she agreed, Xiao Chen still had to fry the youtiao. How could he have time to care about them? Moreover, her mother would think that there was something between them when she saw her asking for him. Her mother looked down on Xiao Chen. Ai. Xiao Chen saw that Lin was not sincere, but he really couldn't help even if he wanted to, unless the youtiao stall and the noodle stall merged, but that was impossible. After lunch, it was time for Lin Kur to go back. Xiao Chen sent her downstairs, and they ate all the way to the eerie staircase. When she saw the bright and beautiful eyes outside, she finally heaved a sigh of relief. This place was really scary. Fortunately, Xiao Chen didn't go wild. In Lin's eyes, Xiao Chen was a beast that could go wild at any time. When returning to the morning market street, Lin still couldn't forget the delicious apples. So when passing by the fruit stall, Lin gritted her teeth and stomped her feet. She bought the apples with the remaining 10 yuan and then happily returned to her own stall. Didn't you say you were visiting your classmate? Why did you buy so many fruits yourself? Mother Lin saw Lin coming back with so many apples in her hand and immediately frowned. I went. I still have 10 yuan left. The apples I bought before were very delicious. I bought some more when I came back. Mom, you and Dad should try it too. It's really delicious. Lin said. Really? Mother Lin heard Lin said that these apples were bought with 10 yuan. She immediately felt that it was not bad. There was quite a lot. Lin took out 3 apples and washed them. She handed one to her mother, one to her father, Lin Dongliang, and kept the last one for herself. She didn't eat it first but waited for her mother to eat it. She looked forward to her mother eating it and seeing her mother's surprised expression like when she first ate it. Mother Lin took the apple and put it to her mouth to take a bite. However, her expression immediately froze. How is it? Isn't it delicious? Lin looked at her mother expectantly. Seeing Mother Lin's expression, Lin thought that she was shocked because it was too delicious. She had the same expression before. What's delicious about it? Mother Lin was so angry that she directly gave Lin's head. She said angrily, "Prodigal child, what rubbish did you buy? How can it be delicious when it's so disgusting?" Lin was a little overwhelmed by her mother's sudden outburst. What's going on? Why did my mother say that it's not delicious? It's obviously delicious. With grievance and confusion, Lin took a bite of the apple in her hand. However, as soon as she finished biting, she almost spat it out. At Tang Tang's house, she not only ate delicious apples but also had a delicious lunch. Now, the apple in her hand tasted so bad that it was hard for her to swallow. Not only was it not crisp and refreshing, but the most important thing was that it had no taste. It was neither sour nor sweet. It was as bad as it could be. Didn't you say it was delicious? Do you think everyone is a fool? How can delicious apples be sold so cheaply? Mother Lin was really angry with Lin. She thought she was quite happy because she was greedy. She didn't expect that she was cheated. But I bought it before. It was really delicious. It didn't taste like this. We all ate it. Kerlin explained with some grievance. We sold the apples in the same store, and I chose them myself. That was to sell you some delicious apples first to attract you. Then, when you went to buy them, I sold you the bad ones to fool you. Mother Lin snorted. You're such a brainless child. You're so stupid. Okay, hurry up and get to work. Kerlin was about to cry. How could it be like what her mother said? Those apples were placed on the ground and picked by herself. The first time was picked by herself, and the second time was the same. How could there be good or bad apples? The stall owner didn't have time to change the apples on the ground. Well, the child is also kind. I'll process the apples in the evening and make them into canned syrup. You can also eat it. Lin Dongliang finished the apple in his hand. He smiled and waved his hand to stop Mother Lin from continuing to scold Kerlin. You spoil this girl. She even dares to buy things by herself. Mother Lin complained. She didn't say anything and went to work. Kerlin was puzzled. She looked at the bag of apples in her hand stupidly. Xiaochen didn't know that he had been imagined as an orc. When he returned to Tang Tang's home, he saw that Tang Tang had gotten up and was about to wash the dishes. Tang Tang, you just recovered from a serious illness. How can you do this? Xiaochen quickly walked over. The tap water here is underground. It's too cold. I'm afraid that you'll have problems again. Chapter 160. It's okay. How can I be so delicate? When I didn't know you, I survived at home and didn't die. Tang Tang smiled and walked into the kitchen. She reached out to turn the faucet and prepared to wash the dishes. However, it didn't work. Xiaochen quickly went to help, but Tang Tang thought that Xiaochen was going to rush to wash the dishes. In a hurry, the faucet broke directly with a "ka" sound. The violent water sprayed out, and Tang Tang was instantly drenched. The cold underground water couldn't help but make Tang Tang shiver. Her whole body quivered, especially since Tang Tang was only wearing pajamas. She was directly penetrated by the cold water. Ah! Tang Tang exclaimed and quickly turned back. However, Xiaochen was also walking to this side to help. As a result, Tang Tang suddenly bumped into Xiaochen's arms. If Tang Tang didn't get wet, it would be better. Now that she was wet, the thin pajamas were not only transparent, but also stuck to her body, directly outlining the shape of her chest. Xiaochen felt something soft sticking to him. Although it was a little wet, it was very comfortable. Xiaochen couldn't understand why he had this feeling for Tang Tang. They should be brothers, but Xiaochen had a reaction. Xiaochen despised himself. Isn't it just a little bigger and a little softer? I can't be so shameless, right? Although he was a little reluctant, Xiaochen quickly let go of Tang Tang. You go and change your clothes. Let me see what's wrong with this faucet. Ah. Okay. Tang Tang was also a little absent-minded before. She seemed to enjoy the feeling in Xiaochen's arms. Even if she was taken advantage of by Xiaochen, Tang Tang also felt very happy. Xiaochen finally knew why many sexy models on the internet like to take photos with their bodies wet. It was really very tempting. Xiaochen couldn't look at it directly. He was very ashamed of his thoughts on Tang Tang. When Tang Tang left the kitchen, Xiaochen was relieved. He looked at the faucet that was still leaking and quickly closed the main valve. This faucet was the kind of spiral rotation, which was basically not seen in daily life. Xiaochen couldn't understand why there was such an old thing in Tang Tang's rented house. However, this kind of thing had been in disrepair for a long time. It was normal to break it with too much strength. Even if Xiaochen was a cultivator, he couldn't repair this thing. He could only go downstairs to buy a new one. Knowing that Tang Tang was changing clothes in the house, Xiaochen didn't go to say hello and went downstairs. Huh. Xiao Chen took a deep breath. His mind seemed to be a lot weaker. Was it because he hadn't had that kind of high-intensity hard exercise for a long time? In the past, Xiao Chen was the playboy of the Xiao family. He didn't do anything to Kerlin even if he had the conditions. But today, he had fantasies about Tang Tang. It seemed that the comfortable life of a cultivator was easy to make people bad. He didn't have to exercise so hard every day, so his mind began to be used in other places. Being blown by the wind downstairs, Xiao Chen calmed down a lot. He quickly found a hardware store, bought a new faucet, and returned to Tang Tang's house. At this time, Tang Tang had changed clothes. Compared with the previous casual clothes, Tang Tang had put on a formal coat. However, in Xiao Chen's heart, some strange feeling seemed to begin to faintly make trouble. Seeing Tang Tang made his breath slightly short. Xiao Chen was a little embarrassed and didn't dare to look directly at her. Tang Tang generously patted Xiao Chen and said, "Hey, we are buddies. You won't be shy just because you touched me, will you? Then don't go to the stall with me tomorrow." "Huh, if you don't have anything, then what can I have?" Xiao Chen was afraid that Tang Tang would be embarrassed. But since Tang Tang said so, it would be a little pretentious if he still acted like this. So he laughed and said, "Yes, we are buddies. It's okay to hug and touch. It's okay, you big head. Don't think about taking advantage of me. I'm not gay." Tang Tang rolled her eyes at Xiao Chen and said, "Well, have you bought the faucet? Let's put it on. I'll get the toolbox." Xiao Chen calmed down his mood and suppressed the messy and unrealistic ideas in his mind. Xiao Chen directly began to study how to dismantle the faucet. At this time, Tang Tang also took the toolbox, which made Xiao Chen very surprised. Tang Tang actually had such a thing at home. "Why do you have so many tools?" Xiao Chen opened it and found that it was full of wrenches, pliers, screwdrivers, and so on. "How can I not prepare everything for my own living? If something is broken, I have to repair it myself." Tang Tang smiled bitterly. Xiao Chen nodded, took the tools, and began to dismantle the previous faucet. However, perhaps because it was too old, it was already rusty. Xiao Chen tried to dismantle it, but he didn't open it. In this case, it was no longer possible to open it with a lot of strength. If he used too much strength, he might break the water pipe. "Let me help you." Tang Tang saw that Xiao Chen didn't turn off the faucet, so she asked. "No, you are a patient. How can I let you do it?" Xiao Chen shook his head and began to think about how to remove the faucet. "If you don't think it's a waste, use your primordial qi to dredge the rust at the junction." In Xiao Chen's ears, there was a reminder from the elder heaven ancestor. It turned out that it was possible to use primordial qi in this way. It seemed that my primordial qi was really a treasure. Xiao Chen was overjoyed. This is used when craftsmen can't do some relatively small and precise parts when craftsmen can't do it. Cultivators can do it with primordial qi, but you use it in this kind of place, and you are still complacent. It's really a waste to let you be a cultivator. The elder heaven ancestor said with some disappointment. Cultivators don't live? I think it's quite good. Xiao Chen didn't care. The purpose of his cultivation was to change his life, unlike many cultivators who simply cultivated for the sake of cultivation. With a ka sound, the water faucet was removed by Xiao Chen. It was in perfect condition. Then, he wrapped the new faucet with a raw material belt and carefully fixed it in the original position. It was done. Originally, Xiao Chen didn't know how to install this thing, but after learning in the hardware store, he could skillfully operate it. Xiao Chen found that he could be competent for any kind of skilled work. He was really tailor-made to be a servant. The young lady didn't know how to do anything, but he had to know how to ensure a stable job and not be fired. Well, not bad, a cultivator can give me such a good job. I really have to thank the elder heaven ancestor. The elder heaven ancestor directly fainted because of Xiao Chen's idea. Can't you have a little ambition? Is cultivation for a better servant? Xiao Chen, I'm a little doubtful now. Are you really the young master of the Xiao family? No matter how I look at it, I don't think so. Even I can't say that I can change the faucet so skillfully. How can you change it so perfectly? Tang Tang looked at Xiao Chen suspiciously. Indeed, Xiao Chen didn't look like a playboy in the past, including the cooking at noon today. Tang Tang also felt that it was beyond the level of a five-star hotel. I'm now Miss Chang's servant, and I'm the only servant in the villa. I can't do it. Xiao Chen shrugged. It's not easy to be a servant these days. You have to be an all-rounder. Tang Tang pursed her lips. She wanted to say that he didn't have to do it if he didn't want to, there was no salary, and he would be bullied. But thinking about it, Qing Menjing was Xiao Chen's goddess, and he was so happy even without money, so Tang Tang naturally didn't want to interfere forcibly. After the faucet was changed and the dishes were washed, Xiao Chen saw that it was almost time, and it was not good to continue to stay here and disturb Tang Tang's rest. Although the previous embarrassment had been solved, Xiao Chen always felt a little strange in his heart. It was better to go back and calm down, otherwise it would not be good to affect the friendship between him and Tang Tang because of this matter. Are you leaving? Tang Tang seemed to see Xiao Chen's purpose and asked. Well, it's not early. You rest a little more. I'll go back first, said Xiao Chen. If there's nothing else, have dinner here. I'll cook for you in the evening. Tang Tang urged him to stay. I'll cook for you in the evening? Xiao Chen found that he was thinking about it again. Knowing that Tang Tang didn't mean that, Xiao Chen still couldn't help thinking about it. Shaking his head, Xiao Chen said, No, I haven't had such a free Sunday for a long time. I want to go out for a walk. Okay. Tang Tang didn't force him. Hey, are you still hiding from me because of what happened just now? How is that possible? Xiao Chen shook his head, pretending to be cool. I was imagining you as your cousin just now. From a certain angle, the two of you do look a little similar. Humph. I know you're interested in my cousin. You don't mean what you say. Tang Tang was happy. I'll introduce her to you when I have a chance. Sure, you're the one who said it. Xiao Chen smiled as well, concealing his dirty thoughts from before. By the way, there's one thing I'm very confused about. How did you get into my house? Do you have the key? Tang Tang wanted to ask before, but the first time was too uncomfortable and she forgot it. The second time was when Kerlin came with her, so she didn't ask. Oh, I practiced unlocking when I had nothing to do. Xiao Chen said seriously, you know, I'm now determined to be a full-time servant, the personal master of the campus bell, so I have to know everything. In case Qing Menjing locks the key at home, I have to quickly unlock it. Who would believe that? Didn't you say that there's another guest in your villa? Tang Tang curled her lips. I know, you must be looking for a chance to sneak into Qing Menjing's bedroom. Okay, you guessed it right. Xiao Chen shrugged. The main thing is that I have the intention but not the guts. I think so too. Tang Tang smiled and said, okay, then I won't see you off. See you tomorrow morning. Xiao Chen went out of Tang Tang's house and was about to walk around, but his phone rang. To Xiao Chen's surprise, it was Zhu Yingxiong, who he hadn't contacted for a while. Chapter 161. Hero? Xiao Chen picked up the phone. He was wondering where this kid disappeared to. However, Xiao Chen was really busy recently, so he didn't take the initiative to ask. Xiao Chen was actually afraid that Zhu Yingxiong was just hot-blooded at the beginning. When he calmed down, he would succumb to the pressure from his family and cut off contact with him. If that was the case, it would be awkward for Xiao Chen to look for him. After all, Chen Jinpeng was a living example. Although Xiao Chen felt that Zhu Yingxiong wasn't that kind of person, it was hard to say for the people in his family. Bro, I'm Lao Zhu. Have you forgotten me? Zhu Yingxiong's excited voice came from the other side of the phone. That's great. Bro, you are still alive. Pfft. You want me to die so much? Xiao Chen was speechless. No. Bro, you have already left the Xiao family. There is a bloody storm outside, but you can still survive. You are so awesome. I was really afraid that you were assassinated by a villain. Zhu Yingxiong said, where are you? I'm going to find you now. Ugh. I'm at the Morning Market Street near the second high school. Xiao Chen reported his address. Why did you disappear recently? Don't mention it. I was beaten up by my old man. The next day, there were signs of a breakthrough. So, my family's ancestor took me away for a closed-door training. Now, I'm a martial artist with stage 1 inner force. Waha. I'm preparing to accompany the bro to show off his prowess and beat up Qiao Yuliang. Zhu Yingxiong said arrogantly. Xiao Chen was speechless. Qiao Yuliang was a master at the peak of stage 3 inner force. You're just a stage 1 inner force expert, yet you're able to beat them to a pulp? However, it was normal that Zhu Yingxiong didn't know Qiao Yuliang's true strength. Qin Jinpeng is a stage 2 inner force martial artist, and his brother is dead. The Qin family's cultivation resources are all given to him. I heard that he is showing signs of a breakthrough. If you want to beat up Qiao Yuliang, how can he just stand by and watch? Motherf asterisk Ker, it's that traitor again. Zhu Yingxiong was furious at the mention of Qin Jinpeng. If it wasn't for him, Qiao Yuliang would be dead. Wait for me, I'll go look for you right now. Let's meet and talk in detail. Okay, I'll wait for you. Xiao Chen hung up the phone and couldn't help but smile. Zhu Yingxiong was still so cute. Moreover, it seemed that the Zhu family didn't restrict Zhu Yingxiong's actions anymore, and Zhu Yingxiong disappeared during this period of time because he was in seclusion to break through. However, before Zhu Yingxiong arrived, the sky started to drizzle. It seemed that the rain was purposely taking care of Xiao Chen by not opening his stall. Generally, when it rained, everyone would close their stalls early. After all, it was impossible to do open-air business when it rained. They found a bus stop to take shelter from the rain. Xiao Chen slowly waited for Zhu Yingxiong. Not long after, a convertible Jaguar F-type sports car stopped at the bus stop. Zhu Yingxiong sat inside and shouted at Xiao Chen, "Boss, here, here." Ugh. You're still driving a convertible in the rain? Xiao Chen looked at Zhu Yingxiong, who was drenched in rain. He was really speechless. Boss, you also know that with my figure, I can't sit in a sports car that isn't convertible. Zhu Yingxiong said with a sad face, I usually take the MPV. I thought that since I'm here to pick up boss today, I wanted to be cool. Who knew that it would rain halfway? Xiao Chen got in the car and sat on his butt. Can this car still be driven after being drenched like this? Xiao Chen felt that he was stupid to take the car like this. A bus passed by them. Inside the window, a little boy pointed at Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong and said, Dad, why didn't they open the canopy? They're so stupid. And, they probably borrowed the car and came out to show off. They don't know how to use the canopy, explained his father. Xiao Chen was a cultivator. When he heard every single word that was said, he had the urge to get out of the car and walk away. Fortunately, Xiao Chen's face was thicker than the city wall. He was used to it. Finally, Zhu Yingxiong found a cafe and stopped the car. Then, he and Xiao Chen walked into the cafe dripping with water. Zhu Yingxiong locked the car and closed the canopy, which made the security guard at the side stunned. Are these two people crazy? They closed the canopy after getting off the car. Boss, I'm so sorry. I've caused you to be drenched like this. Zhu Yingxiong found a seat and sat down. He looked at Xiao Chen apologetically. All right, let's not talk about this. Xiao Chen waved his hand and said, I'm not Xiao Chen anymore. I can endure any harsh environment. Right, speaking of this, boss, how have you been recently? I heard that you went to be a servant for Qing Menjing. Did she bully or humiliate you? Zhu Yingxiong used to be Xiao Chen's #1 follower. Naturally, he knew that he and Qing Menjing weren't happy. Although they were engaged, they were almost strangers in school. Xiao Chen even pursued Qing Menjing's bestie, Shen Jingxian, in front of her. This was something that no woman could tolerate. Her fiancé actually pursued another woman in front of her, and she was even her good friend. Now, Qing Menjing had become Xiao Chen's mistress. It would be strange if she didn't retaliate against him. No, Menjing's personality is actually quite good, and she treats me well. Xiao Chen lowered his voice and said, but this is also limited to you and me. Don't tell anyone. Damn. Really? Zhu Yingxiong's eyes widened. That's not right. I heard that the Qing family humiliated you in every way possible. Not only do you have to endure Miss Cheng's harassment every day, but you also don't have a salary. How can it be good? Boss, it's not shameful to tell the truth. I, your younger brother, will support you no matter what. Do I need to lie to you? Xiao Chen looked at Zhu Yingxiong's disbelief and couldn't help but smile bitterly. That's the rumor outside. If the rumor is that Qing Menjing treats me well, the Qing family would have already gone crazy. Really? Zhu Yingxiong still didn't quite believe it. He looked at Xiao Chen suspiciously. With Qing Menjing's cold and arrogant appearance, it's impossible for her to treat you well, right? Well, let's not talk about this. I'm living well now. Xiao Chen waved his hand and didn't continue this topic. Well, boss, if you have any difficulties, you must tell me. I will do my best. Zhu Yingxiong saw that Xiao Chen seemed to be really fine, so he didn't ask anymore. Although he still didn't believe that Qing Menjing didn't retaliate against Xiao Chen. How much money do you have? Xiao Chen suddenly asked. He was really poor now. Tomorrow night was the last day. He had to buy medicinal herbs the day after tomorrow. Now he still didn't have a penny. Money? By the way, boss, this time I came to give you living expenses. Zhu Yingxiong patted his head. He took out a bank card from his pocket and handed it to Xiao Chen. I know you don't have a salary now. It must be difficult for you to move around. Look at you, now you are reduced to eating in the morning market. We used to eat in restaurants. Zhu Yingxiong still didn't know that Xiao Chen had a stall in the morning market. It seemed that he didn't get the news during his closed-door training. Thank you. How much is this? Xiao Chen didn't hesitate. He was really short of money. Even if Zhu Yingxiong didn't give it to him, he planned to ask to borrow it. 200,000 yuan. It's my living expenses for the next 2 months. Boss, you have to save some money. Zhu Yingxiong said. Xiao Chen was very touched. Zhu Yingxiong didn't have much money. It wasn't that there weren't people who spent money extravagantly. However, Zhu Yingxiong's family education was more strict. So he didn't have much pocket money. However, Zhu Yingxiong really didn't spend much money. This 200,000 yuan, if it was when Xiao Chen just bought medicine, would be a huge amount of money. But now, it was really a drop in the bucket. However, it was better than nothing. Xiao Chen wouldn't refuse it because it was too little. I'm borrowing it from you. When I have money in the future, I will return it to you. Xiao Chen said. Boss, aren't you looking down on me? If you still need to return it, I won't bring it back. Zhu Yingxiong said. Alright, then I won't return it. Xiao Chen smiled. That's more like it. Zhu Yingxiong was satisfied. He summoned the waiter to order something. Hello, sir. What do you need? The waiter came over and asked politely. Give me a bowl of ginger soup. Zhu Yingxiong was soaked in the rain just now. I'm sorry, sir. This is a coffee shop. We don't have ginger soup. The waiter said with some difficulty. Just give me 2 hot drinks. Xiao Chen waved his hand and said to the waiter. Okay. The waiter was relieved. He nodded and went to prepare. Boss, why didn't you let me say it? Zhu Yingxiong was a little depressed. Your next sentence will definitely be 1,000 yuan. Do you have ginger soup? Xiao Chen smiled bitterly. Save some money. How many youtiao do you think I, your boss, can earn 1,000 yuan by selling? Selling youtiao? What do you mean? Zhu Yingxiong was inexplicable. I sell youtiao every day at the morning market street. Missy doesn't give me a salary. I have to make a living, right? Xiao Chen said. It can't be. Boss, I'm so sorry. You suffered. If I came out earlier, this wouldn't have happened. Zhu Yingxiong finally understood why Xiao Chen appeared near the morning market street. Boss, don't worry. I'm already a stage 1 inner force warrior. I can do some simple warrior missions. I'll go to the warrior guild to accept missions and help you earn money. Don't sell that youtiao. Warrior guild? Xiao Chen suddenly thought of something after being reminded by Zhu Yingxiong. The warrior guild would often issue missions with rewards. However, Xiao Chen wasn't a warrior before. Although he had heard of it, he didn't understand it. Therefore, if Zhu Yingxiong didn't mention it, he would have ignored it. Now that he heard Zhu Yingxiong's words, his interest was piqued. Anyone can accept this mission from the warrior guild? Is the reward high? Yes, you can. However, the missions will indicate the warrior's level. If your level is too low and you die, not only will the warrior guild not pay the reward, they won't care about your life or death. Zhu Yingxiong said. However, I can only accept simple missions that can be done by a stage 1 inner force warrior. As for the reward, the average for a mission is tens of thousands yuan. The highest reward is not more than 100,000 yuan. Chapter 162. So that's how it is. Xiao Chen thought of his own father, who had accepted a trial mission issued by the warrior guild. The reward was very generous, but there was no news of him in the end, and the warrior guild did not give any explanation. This was a gamble that one was willing to take. Risk and reward coexisted. Xiao Chen sighed and said, Later, do you have time? I want to go to the warrior guild to take a look, and find out if there is any news of my father. Zhu Yingxiong was stunned, and then realized that mentioning the warrior guild had evoked Xiao Chen's sadness. He quickly nodded and said, Of course, I also want to test my strength, so I can do a small mission or something. Then it's settled. Although Xiao Chen also wanted to find out news of his father, the most important thing was to see if he could get a mission with a high reward. After all, there would always be people in the Xiao family to find out about his father's news. Once there was news, it would spread immediately, so it would be useless for him to find out. Boss, Uncle Xiao, so many people went to find out about the news, but there was no result. You should restrain your grief. Zhu Yingxiong hesitated and said, This matter is not something we can change. I hope you can walk out of this reality as soon as possible. Isn't the Qing family powerful? Didn't the Qing family also send people to look for them, but there was no news in the end? Hee, I know, I'm just going to take a look. Xiao Chen sighed. Sometimes, it's good to have hope in life, or else we're just walking corpses. What was the goal Xiao Chen was working hard to achieve now? One was for himself, and the other was for his father. He did not believe the so-called rumor that the trial team leader made a mistake. Since there was a mistake and the whole team was wiped out, where did this rumor come from? Just like the matter of him jumping off the cliff, where did the rumor in the school come from? All of this was extremely strange. The school incident was definitely done by Chao Yuliang, but regarding his father, Xiao Chen did not believe that Chao Yuliang had such great ability. Could it be the Chao family? However, according to what Xiao Chen knew, the Chao family's power could not cover the sky with one hand. It was very likely that the Chao family as a whole had hidden their strength. That was too strong. That's true, then let's go take a look. Zhu Yingxiong saw that Xiao Chen had an open mind, so he did not say anything else. He was afraid that Xiao Chen would take things too hard. But boss, you are the center of attention. You are now. It is not good for you to appear in the warrior guild. It's not good for you to appear in the Xiao Chen. You, Xiao Xiao Tian. It had to be said that although Zhu Yingxiong looked simple-minded and muscular, that was not the case at all. This kid was very shrewd. Even he felt that something was wrong. What's there to be angry about? I'm just keeping a low profile now. I was just about to talk to you about this. Xiaochen said, why don't we go buy 2 masks later? It'll be fine if no one can recognize us. That's fine too. That's a good idea. Zhu Yingxiong nodded. It's just as well. I don't want others to know that I went to take on low-level missions. It's too embarrassing for the children of aristocratic families to take on those missions. I'm afraid that my father will beat me up if he finds out. Those low-level missions were usually taken on by martial artists. The children of aristocratic families were not too short of money. Taking on those low-level missions was like snatching food from beggars. If it were to be spread, people would look down on them. If you were not strong enough, you could just stay in your family or take on higher-level missions. However, to avoid embarrassment, you could still wear a mask to take on missions. After all, no one would know who you were if you wore a mask. Some martial artists would choose to wear a mask to take on missions because they were afraid that others would recognize them. After all, some missions might lead to revenge. They were not willing to reveal their true identity. Zhu Yingxiong called the waiter over and paid the bill. The 2 of them left the cafe together. The rain outside was still pitter-patter. Xiaochen really could not stand it. He had just warmed up and now he was drenched again. Therefore, under Xiaochen's strong request, Zhu Yingxiong closed the canopy. However, his fat body was curled up in the car and it was very painful. Fortunately, it didn't take long for the car to stop in front of a toy shop by the roadside. Zhu Yingxiong and Xiaochen got out of the car and walked in to buy masks. Zhu Yingxiong had a soft spot for pig avatars. It might be because he was fat and his nickname was Old Pig. Therefore, he directly took a Zhu Beiji mask and said to Xiaochen, I have chosen. This is it. However, Xiaochen immediately saw the mask that was exactly the same as the Arctic fox mask that he had bought before. This kind of mask was mass-produced by the manufacturer and could be seen everywhere. Although Xiaochen continued to use it might eventually expose his identity, the person with him was Zhu Yingxiong. He believed that Zhu Yingxiong wouldn't say anything. Therefore, Xiaochen took the white fox mask and placed it on the counter. The 2 masks didn't cost much. After the boss took the money, he didn't even bother to look at Xiaochen and Xiaochen. However, the more he did so, the more confident Xiaochen was. After leaving the shop and getting into the car, the 2 of them went straight to the warrior guild. As the 2 of them wanted to hide their identities, Zhu Yingxiong parked the car in a nearby public parking lot. Then, the 2 of them put on their masks and walked to the warrior guild. This was Xiaochen's first time coming to the warrior guild. In the past, he was useless and was embarrassed to come to a place where martial artists gathered. Anyone there was stronger than him. What was he doing here? Moreover, the Xiao family wouldn't bring him here. Back then, Xiaochen's father, Xiao Feng, was also afraid that it would hurt Xiaochen's self-esteem. However, things have changed with the passage of time. Xiaochen came here again, but he didn't feel any pressure at all. He was now equivalent to a martial artist at the peak of stage 4 inner force. In the warrior guild, he would be one of the best. What was there for Xiaochen to be afraid of? Hello, please show me your warrior guild membership card. When the 2 of them entered the warrior guild, they were stopped by the guard. This place wasn't a place that anyone could enter. After all, the world of martial artists was very different from the world of ordinary people. Many ordinary people might not even know the existence of martial artists in their lifetime. Even if they accidentally entered this place, they would think that it was a private entertainment club and wouldn't take it seriously. This is our first time here. Xiaochen said, we don't have a guild membership card yet. Oh, then are you martial artists? The guard nodded and asked. After all, some ordinary people who had heard of the warrior guild would occasionally pretend to be martial artists and come here to broaden their horizons. That's right, we are all martial artists at Stage 1 Inner Force. Xiao Chen nodded and said affirmatively. Alright, come with me. I want to give you a martial artist test. If you pass, I will apply for a membership card for you. If you don't pass, I'm sorry, but please leave. The guard said. No problem. Xiao Chen replied. Zhu Yingxiong wanted to say something, but he didn't have time to speak. He only heard Xiao Chen say it. However, he was a little anxious. Xiao Chen wasn't a martial artist. What if he didn't pass the test? One had to know that the warrior guild was very strict with non-affiliated martial artists. However, it wasn't so strict with the 9 aristocratic families. Regardless of whether they were members of the 4 aristocratic families or the 5 aristocratic families, they were all qualified to apply for a warrior guild membership card. Xiao Chen also knew about this. Just now, Zhu Yingxiong's identity was probably going to be exposed. Therefore, Xiao Chen took the initiative to treat them as non-affiliated martial artists. The two followed the guard all the way to a room. There was nothing in the room except for a large machine. The guard walked over and sat in front of a computer. He said directly, "Go ahead and hit with all your strength. Otherwise, if you don't pass the test, you will have to leave. I'll go first." Zhu Yingxiong thought that if he passed, even if Xiao Chen didn't pass, he should be able to make an exception and prove that they weren't scammers. Therefore, Zhu Yingxiong came to the front of the machine and threw a punch at the testing area on it. Boom! There was a loud noise. On the other side, the guard stared at the computer screen in front of him without blinking. After a while, the value of 1.2 inch appeared on the screen. This proved that Zhu Yingxiong's strength was 1.2 times that of a normal Stage 1 Inner Force martial artist. The test passed. Okay, you can go. The guard nodded to Zhu Yingxiong. This time, it was Xiao Chen's turn. Zhu Yingxiong was so anxious that his forehead was covered in sweat. However, when he saw that Xiao Chen was calm and composed without any hesitation, he could only hold back his words and wait for the results. Boom! There was another loud noise. The value of 1.9 inch suddenly appeared on the guard's computer screen. This made Zhu Yingxiong's eyes widen. It can't be, right? Xiao Chen actually had 1.9 times the strength. Wasn't this the level of a peak Stage 1 Inner Force martial artist who was about to break through? Sure enough, the guard nodded in satisfaction. You're almost a Stage 2 Inner Force martial artist. Not bad. You've passed the test. You can come with me to apply for a membership card. Looking at the result of his test, Xiao Chen could not help but smile bitterly. He had already controlled his strength to maintain the strength of a Stage 1 Qi refinement stage martial artist. However, who would have thought that a Stage 1 Qi refinement stage martial artist would be so powerful? But thinking about it carefully, it was normal that a Stage 1 Qi refinement stage martial artist was equivalent to a Stage 1 Inner Force martial artist. Although Zhu Yingxiong had a lot of questions, it was not a good place to ask. He could only look at Xiao Chen in confusion. What's your name? It can be your real name or your code name. The guard began to input the information into the computer and said, but you have to think carefully. This name will be your lifelong name in the Warrior Guild. You can't change it. Unless you don't want your previous level points and start all over again. Okay, I'm called Old Zhu. The identity of Zhu Yingxiong was only a temporary one. In the future, he was destined to use the identity of the young master of the Zhu clan to establish a file in the Warrior Guild. Therefore, it did not matter what this identity was called, it was just a code. Chapter 163. My name is White Fox. Xiao Chen said. Well, old pig, White Fox, this is your membership card. You can use this card to accept missions in the future, accumulate points, and use the points to exchange for money and cultivation resources. The guard explained, then I won't waste your time. I have to go back to work. After that, the guard gave 2 membership cards to Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong. They left the testing room together and went their separate ways. Bro, have you become so powerful? Zhu Yingxiong's eyes widened. Aren't you unable to cultivate? Did you feel the internal energy that I released just now? Xiao Chen asked suddenly. Now that you mention it, I really didn't feel it just now. Zhu Yingxiong was stunned. He recalled that when a martial artist made a move, there was a strong wind. When Xiao Chen made a move just now, although the strength reached the peak of the internal energy martial artist's strength, there was no strong wind. Of course, this small detail would be ignored if one didn't deliberately think about it. Zhu Yingxiong was close just now, so he remembered it so clearly. The guard was so far away, so he couldn't feel it at all. That's right. Xiao Chen laughed. D*MN, bro, are you born with divine power? Zhu Yingxiong's eyes widened. Then you are too awesome. You are stronger than me in cultivation. Why didn't I notice it before? In the past, there was Chen Jinpeng, a fighter, so I didn't have to do it myself. Xiao Chen shrugged and said, my body is a bit special. I can't explain it in a short time. It's good that you know. Don't tell others. Don't worry, I'm not a fool. I won't say it even if you beat me to death. Zhu Yingxiong nodded. I'm best at getting beaten up. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. But really, Zhu Yingxiong was beaten until he grew up. The 2 of them walked into the main hall of the Warrior Guild. This place was like a stock exchange hall. On one side of the wall, there was a large screen with some missions scrolling on it. Of course, these missions were not very high level. Some of the high-level missions were confidential and only members who had reached a certain level could view them. Both of their membership cards were only level 1, so they could only accept missions in the hall. However, there were a lot of people in the hall, and there was only one big screen. The front was already filled with people. Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong did not dare to casually squeeze in. Everyone here was an expert. Who knew which one of them was a ruthless person? If they squeezed in and beat you up, you would become an idiot. It seems that we should come earlier tomorrow morning. We can't squeeze in today. Zhu Yingxiong complained. Why don't we get a telescope? Xiao Chen was fine with it. He was a cultivator. His 6 senses were already incomparable to ordinary people. Even if he was far away, he could still clearly see the words on the big screen. Telescope, telescope for sale. At this time, a girl wearing sunglasses and the uniform of the Warrior Guild service staff walked over and said to Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong. How much is one? Zhu Yingxiong asked quickly. As the saying went, when one was sleepy, one would bump into a pillow. 10,000. The girl in sunglasses said. How much? Zhu Yingxiong was stunned and said in surprise. He thought that there was something wrong with his ears. 10,000. It's a good and cheap price. Professional quality. The girl in sunglasses said. Why is it so expensive? Zhu Yingxiong looked at the telescope in the girl's hand. It's obviously a street stall quality. Professional quality? This thing was available in the toy store where he bought the mask just now. The price was only 50 yuan. If he were to bargain, he might be able to get it for 30 yuan. You don't have to buy it if it's expensive. We're the only one who cheats. The girl in sunglasses said indifferently. Ugh. Zhu Yingxiong suddenly felt a little depressed. 1,000 and 2,000 yuan was still okay. 10,000 yuan. It wasn't much during normal times. But now that he had just given Xiao Chen 200,000 yuan, he didn't have any money left. However, if he were to go out and buy a telescope, it would be a waste of time. The most important thing was that the Warrior Guild closed at 5 in the afternoon. Are you buying it or not? If not, I'm leaving. The girl in sunglasses said impatiently. I'll buy it. Zhu Yingxiong gritted his teeth and was about to take out money, but he heard Xiao Chen say. There's no need to buy it. I can see it. I'll read it to you. Xiao Chen said directly. You can see it from so far away? Do you think you're Yang Ming? The girl in sunglasses obviously didn't believe Xiao Chen's words. Who's Yang Ming? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. My idol. It's none of your business. The girl in sunglasses snorted and said, if you can see the words on the big screen, I'll give you a telescope. This is what you said. Don't go back on your words. A smile flashed across Xiao Chen's mouth. Lu Shuangshuang, always keep my words. The girl in sunglasses turned out to be Lu Shuangshuang. Level 1 Warrior Mission, Songlian Mountain, collect 50 heart listening grass. Reward, 50 points. Level 1 Warrior Mission, Okada Group hires a bodyguard for the chairman of the board of directors. The duration is 30 days. Reward, 60 points. Level 2 Warrior Mission, go to the Demon World Virgin Forest by the sea and kill a three-tailed fox. Reward, 150 points. Level 2 Warrior Mission, Xiao Chen read out the mission on the big screen in one breath. Lu Shuangshuang used the telescope to look at it. In the end, she realized that Xiao Chen said it word for word. Her face instantly turned ugly. She was so angry that she stomped her feet and said, "Humph. Forget it. Don't read it. I'll give it to you." Lu Shuangshuang passed the telescope in her hand to Xiao Chen. She kept her words, but her face was as black as the bottom of a pot. It's just a telescope. Do you have to be like this? Xiao Chen shook his head. It's at most 30 yuan. So what if I give one away? It's quite pretty. Why is your face so black when you're angry? It's none of your business. What do you know? Humph. Lu Shuangshuang turned around and left. She didn't bother with Xiao Chen anymore. Xiao Chen shook his head and passed the telescope to Zhu Yingxiong. Damn. Boss, you can really see it. I thought you were making it up. Zhu Yingxiong was shocked. I suddenly realized that you're actually so strong. Whoever says that you're a useless young master, I'll be angry. It's just telescopic vision. What's there to be surprised about? Xiao Chen patted Zhu Yingxiong's shoulder and said, all right. Take a look at what mission you want to do. Lu Shuangshuang scolded as she walked. Bastard, big bastard. I'm so angry. I'm going to die. Although this telescope was bought for 30 yuan, there was a reason why Lu Shuangshuang could dominate the Warrior Guild's market. She had to pay the Warrior Guild 5,000 yuan as management fee for each telescope she sold. In other words, she could only earn 4,970 yuan from selling one. Not only did Xiao Chen not earn any money, but he also had to pay 5,000 yuan as management fee. It was equivalent to working for nothing and losing 5,030 yuan. One had to know that the Warrior Guild didn't have new members every day. Lu Shuangshuang only had business when there were new members. Therefore, this compensation was equivalent to a few days' worth of hard work. Boss, I think I should take a level 1 mission. Zhu Yingxiong was dazzled by the number of missions, but he still chose the level 1 warrior mission in the end. He still had self-awareness. The level 1 warrior mission, as the name suggested, was a mission prepared for stage 1 inner force warriors. Generally speaking, the difficulty of the mission wouldn't exceed the scope of stage 1 inner force. However, there would occasionally be an exception, and the person who accepted the mission was unlucky. However, if the mission was completed, there would still be additional mission rewards. Xiao Chen's eyes were focused on the level 3 and above warrior missions. These missions had very generous reward points. However, what made Xiao Chen a little depressed was that most of these missions were to look for things in other places or to deal with people or spirit beasts. The mission location was basically not in the city. And the round trip would take at least a few days. It was impossible for Xiao Chen to leave Songning City to do the mission now. In that case, it would be very easy to be discovered by the Qing family. Songlian Mountain, collect 50 heart listening grass, reward 50 points. This mission is not bad, I'll take it. Zhu Yingxiong looked around and found that this mission was relatively easy, and it wasn't very dangerous. In fact, this mission was a difficult mission for a stage 1 inner force warrior. The heart-listening grass grew relatively scattered, and it was near the cliff. It was especially difficult to collect. Without strong physical strength, it was very difficult to collect. Moreover, the heart-listening grass had to be pulled out by hand. It couldn't be excavated with any equipment. The roots of the heart-listening grass had a corrosive liquid similar to poison. If excavated, the poison would instantly rise, causing the whole heart-listening grass to become useless. Therefore, it had to be pulled out quickly by hand. This way, the poison sac at the roots would remain in the soil and wouldn't be pulled out. However, there was a considerable limit to the strength used. Ordinary people who weren't warriors would find it difficult to pull it out. This kind of mission didn't have any technical content, and it was very hard. The reward wasn't very high either. Generally, except for newcomers, no one would accept it. Zhu Yingxiong just wanted to try it out, so he directly took his membership card and found a staff member who was patrolling the trading hall to help him swipe the card and place the order. On the big screen, this mission had actually been accepted and removed from the list. Of course, if Zhu Yingxiong didn't complete the mission within the stipulated time, this mission would be back on the list for other warriors to choose from. Xiao Chen was a little disappointed that there weren't any suitable level 3 and level 4 missions. The reward for level 1 and level 2 missions was too low. Xiao Chen couldn't afford to waste his time. If each point was exchanged for cash, it could be exchanged for 1,000 yuan. 50 points would be 50,000 yuan. If it was the previous Xiao Chen, he would probably be overjoyed, but now 50,000 yuan was simply not enough to do anything. Huh? Wait a minute. Suddenly, Xiao Chen's gaze stopped on a mission that had just been released a minute ago. Level 4 Warrior Mission, head to Songming City and kill a heretic. Note that the strength of the heretic may be higher than a stage 4 inner force warrior. Chapter 164. In the world of martial artists, if they were further divided, there would be several types of people. The first type was the more orthodox martial artists. They used martial arts manuals to improve their strength through training. This was also the traditional martial artists who were more numerous. They were also called martial cultivators. The second type was the disciples of the Devil's Sect. These people were also martial artists. However, their way of cultivation was to improve their strength at all costs, even if it was Qigong deviation. Therefore, they were called devil cultivators. Although the devil cultivators were looked down upon by the traditional martial cultivators, after a long period of time, the two still coexisted. Although they didn't get along with each other and often had friction, there were no large-scale conflicts. The third type was the evil cultivator, which was hated by both martial cultivators and devil cultivators. This type of martial artists actually originated from the devil cultivator. However, unlike the devil cultivator, their method of cultivation was not at all costs. Instead, it tended to be harmful and evil. For example, they used the fresh blood of the dead to cultivate, or used virgin girls to cultivate, or relied on digging ancient tombs to absorb the corpse poison and corpse aura in them to cultivate. They also claimed to be devil cultivators, but the disciples of the Devil's Sect never admitted that they were devil cultivators. Because devil cultivators cultivated themselves, although they were a little cruel to themselves, they rarely persecuted ordinary people. They wouldn't do things that harmed others for their own benefit. Therefore, evil cultivators were the existence that everyone wanted to kill. However, most of the evil cultivators hid themselves well. They usually pretended to be devil cultivators, and no one could see through them. The fourth type was the devil cultivator. It was a very rare existence. They were martial artists who cultivated from spirit beasts. There were not many spirit beasts that could cultivate, and spirit beasts that could transform into human form were even rarer. Although hunting evil cultivators might be a little dangerous, Xiao Chen valued the task in the city. The task on the big screen was very simple. Only after accepting the task, there would be someone who would give you the task information and explain the details of the task. After Zhu Yingxiong accepted the task, someone called him to go for training. As a newcomer with 0 points, it was normal for him to be trained. "Boss, wait for me. I'll go for training. You can walk around by yourself first," Zhu Yingxiong said to Xiao Chen. "Okay." Xiao Chen nodded. He wanted to learn more about the level 4 evil cultivator hunting mission. If possible, he would accept it. The reward for this mission was as high as 5,000 points. After Zhu Yingxiong left, Xiao Chen found a worker and said, "Hello, I would like to accept a mission." "Okay. Martial artist, which mission do you want from me?" The staff nodded and asked. "It's the level 4 mission to hunt down the evil cultivator in the city." Xiao Chen said, "Can I still accept this mission?" "Sure." This mission was issued by the headquarters of the Warriors Guild. "We are recruiting a total of 2 trial takers. However, due to the danger of the mission, the trial taker must be a stage 4 inner force martial artist. May I ask if you have reached this level?" The staff member was shocked when he heard Xiao Chen's description of the mission. One had to know that those who could accept level 4 missions were generally masters. In this trading hall, most people accepted level 1 and level 2 missions. Although level 3 and level 4 missions were also issued here, most of them were accepted by the advanced members. "Yes." Xiao Chen nodded, but he had some doubts. 2 trial takers? How will the reward for the mission be distributed? Naturally, the reward will be split in half. The staff member explained, because this evil cultivator is more dangerous, the success rate of 2 people doing the mission is higher. "Can I do it alone?" Xiao Chen pondered for a moment and said, "Should be able to complete it by myself." Let me take a look." The staff member nodded and pressed on his handheld computer skillfully. However, after a while, he shook his head regretfully and said, "I'm sorry, martial artist. This mission has already been accepted. You can only cooperate with him. According to the rules, we can't let the person who accepted the mission quit first." "I see." Xiao Chen was a little disappointed. This mission had just been issued and someone actually accepted it. However, half of the reward was better than nothing. There were still 2,500 points, which was 2.5 million in cash. It was just enough for the discounted medicinal herbs. Therefore, Xiao Chen immediately said, "Help me accept it, this is my membership card." "Please wait, Mr. Martial Artist." The staff member entered Xiao Chen's membership card account on the handheld computer skillfully. However, after entering it, he said, "Mr. White Fox, is this your first time doing a trial mission in the Warrior Guild?" "Yes, this identity is my first time," Xiao Chen said vaguely. Otherwise, it would be strange for a level 4 inner force warrior to not appear in the Warrior Guild before. "I'm sorry, Mr. White Fox. This is your first time accepting a mission with this identity. Your previous level and points are the lowest. Because this is a 2-person mission, in order to ensure the safety of the other trial taker, we have to evaluate your strength." The staff member said solemnly, "Of course, if you successfully complete this mission this time, you don't need to be tested in the future. You can accept any trial mission below level 4. "Sure." Xiao Chen nodded. The Warrior Guild's consideration was not unreasonable. If Xiao Chen was only a level 1 inner force warrior, doing a mission would be equivalent to harming the other partner. "Mr. White Fox, please follow us," the staff member said as he brought Xiao Chen to the testing room where Xiao Chen had registered for the membership card. There was no one in the testing room. The guard from before had already returned to his shift. This time, the testing was done by the staff member. This thing was very simple, so the members of the Warrior Guild knew how to operate it. "Can I test now?" Xiao Chen saw the staff member sitting in front of the computer, so he asked. "Yes, you should be familiar with this. Just hit the testing area with all your strength," the staff member said. This time, Xiao Chen did not hold back. He used all his strength to circulate the mantra, activated the yuan qi in his body, and punched the testing area. Boom! After a while, the value on the computer screen began to rise, and finally stopped at 495. This made the staff member slightly stunned. 495 times of inner strength, a martial artist at the peak of the 4th stage of inner strength, close to the 5th stage of inner strength. Mr. White Fox, as expected, with your personal strength, you can complete this mission by yourself. The staff member's tone toward Xiao Chen also became more respectful. After all, the warrior guild was also a place where the strong ruled. Xiao Chen's strength was considered very high in the trading hall. Xiao Chen was stunned. He had almost become a level 5 inner force warrior. It seemed that the strength of a cultivator was not to be underestimated. He had just broken through to level 4 Qi refinement stage, but he was already comparable to a level 4 inner force warrior who was about to break through to level 5. Then what should I do now? This was Xiao Chen's first time doing a mission, so he did not know anything. He was a complete newbie. Mr. White Fox, here is the mission information, please take a look. The staff member printed out the information. Although he was very surprised that a master like Xiao Chen looked like a newbie, he did not dare to say anything. Okay, thank you. Xiao Chen took the information and quickly flipped through it. Evil cultivator, male, between 30 to 40 years old. Exact age unknown. Does not belong to any sect. Improves his cultivation by eating human organs. Currently, he has fled to Songning City and specifically targets the night walkers in remote areas. However, this evil cultivator laid his hands on the girlfriend of a rich young master. In a rage, the rich young master went to the warrior guild and chose 5,000 points to kill this evil cultivator to avenge himself. All the warrior guilds were connected to the internet. They issued missions from all over the world. Local martial artists could accept the mission, or foreign martial artists could accept the mission. According to the rich young master's guard, this evil cultivator's cultivation should be at the peak of level 3 inner force. He was about to break through to level 4 inner force. Therefore, he could be a martial artist who was close to level 4 inner force, or maybe he had already surpassed it. The guard in charge of tracking this evil cultivator would contact 2 people who accepted the mission. He needed to fill in the contact details here. Xiao Chen hesitated for a moment and filled in White Fox's phone number. He did not fill in his own phone number. If there is nothing else, then I will go to work first. This is my business card. Mr. White Fox, you can contact me anytime. I will be your trade representative in the future. The staff member said, my name is Wang Qiue. You can call me Qiue from now on. Okay. Xiao Chen took the business card and put it away. Then, he left the testing room with the staff member named Wang Qiue. When he returned to the trading hall, Xiao Chen saw Zhu Yingxiong looking around. He quickly said, Hero, what are you doing? Ah, it's boss. Zhu Yingxiong saw Xiao Chen and suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. Boss, where did you go? I thought you were captured by your enemy. Wow, you scared me. No, I was just walking around. I was wearing a mask. Who could catch me? Xiao Chen smiled. That's good. I have already accepted the mission. Tomorrow, I will go to collect heart listening grass. 50 stalks. It's so hard. Usually, the more powerful newcomers won't accept it. Zhu Yingxiong smiled bitterly. But this is also my first mission. I plan to take it step by step. Boss, your current strength is not weak. Do you want to try a mission? I am now Miss Chang's servant. If I don't serve her and go to pull the grass, she will scold me to death. Xiao Chen shook his head. I have my eyes on a mission. I plan to take a look first. That's true. Your identity is different from mine. You don't have much freedom. Zhu Yingxiong nodded and said, So, where are we going now? Next to the warrior guild is the warrior market. Shall we go and take a look? Chapter 165. Sure. Xiao Chen nodded. He had been longing for the Warriors Guild and the Warriors Market since he was young, but he was not strong enough. Even the young master of the Xiao family was too embarrassed to come here. Now that he had the opportunity, he naturally wanted to experience it. The Martial Artists Market was a cultivation resource retail store jointly established by the Martial Artist Guild and the Hong Clan's Chamber of Commerce. Speaking of the Hong Clan's Chamber of Commerce, there was not a single martial artist who did not know of the Hong Clan's Chamber of Commerce. The Hong Clan's Chamber of Commerce was the largest cultivation resource provider. Just like the Martial Artist Guild, it was a colossus that could not be provoked. Even the local aristocratic families or ancient martial arts aristocratic families did not dare to act rashly in front of them. They had to abide by the martial arts rules and trading rules set by them. Otherwise, they would be the public enemy of the entire martial arts world. The main business of the Hong Clan's Chamber of Commerce was the wholesale of medicinal herbs and the auction of top-notch cultivation resources. Although this kind of retail store was quite profitable, the Hong Clan's Chamber of Commerce would usually choose to cooperate with the local Warriors Guild. The Hong Clan's Chamber of Commerce would supply the goods, and the Warriors Guild would be responsible for the sales. Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong walked out of the Trial Mission Trading Hall and walked towards a magnificent shop. On the shop's signboard, a few big words were written in flamboyant calligraphy, Hong Clan's Songning Branch. The aristocratic families were quite rich, but compared to the Hong Clan's Chamber of Commerce, they were nothing. Just the person in charge of the Hong Clan's Songning Branch was probably a high and mighty villager. It was said that even the patriarchs of the aristocratic families had not met this person. Only the Warriors Guild's president Songming was qualified to meet him. There was a dazzling array of things in the market. There were all kinds of cultivation resources, precious herbs, precious medicinal liquids, precious pills, everything that one could think of. Martial techniques and weapons of cultivators were also on sale. Of course, the prices were also very high. But what was interesting was that if you used cash to buy things, the price was usually not cheap. However, everything had a price of points, which was the price of the Warriors Guild's mission points. Usually, it was 10% or even 20% off. Come to think of it, mission points were much more important than cash. Of course, points could be used to issue missions or make announcements in the Warrior Guild. These could not be done with money, unless one used money to buy points from others. However, the price one had to pay was not as simple as 1. In the black market, points could be sold for 1, 5 or even 1, 2. TSK. I didn't expect a Tier 1 body tempering potion to be so expensive. 500 points per bottle. Zhu Yingxiong looked at the price of a body tempering potion. This kind of first-grade body tempering solution was useful for martial artists below stage 3. In order to break through, Zhu Yingxiong used 5 bottles of first-grade body tempering solution. That was a total of 2,500 points. This kind of high-grade medicinal liquid did not have a price tag. In other words, according to the exchange price, it was equivalent to 500,000 yuan per bottle. However, in reality, there was no market for it. If you didn't have points, don't even think about buying it. No wonder when Golden Fur Lion King extorted 10 bottles of first-grade body tempering solution from old Master Chen Wuxian, he felt so pained. As for Zhu Yingxiong, he only earned 50 points after completing the mission, which was exactly 1/10 of the price of a bottle of body tempering solution. This was only for breaking through to stage 1. If he were to break through to stage 3, how many bottles would he need? This was simply burning money. A first-grade body tempering pill? Xiao Chen saw a first-grade body tempering pill near the bottle of body tempering solution. Seeing the price of the first-grade body tempering pill, Xiao Chen's tears flowed uncontrollably. He clenched his fists, his heart filled with nostalgia and gratitude. He remembered that when he was young, there was a period of time when his father and second uncle would come to the Warrior Guild every day to accept training missions. At that time, Xiao Chen did not know that they were there to earn points. One day, the two of them returned happily and gave Xiao Chen a pill for him to consume. Back then, Xiao Chen was still young and did not know the effects of the pill. However, after consuming it, he found out that it was called a first-grade body tempering pill. Compared to the first-grade body tempering solution, it was easier to break through the barrier between ordinary people and martial artists, allowing one to officially embark on the path of martial arts cultivation. However, Xiao Chen's physique was not suitable for martial arts cultivation. A first-grade body tempering pill could not change this fact. At that time, when Xiao Chen saw the disappointment and helplessness in his father and second uncle's eyes, he did not understand why. However, now he understood. This first-grade body tempering pill was exchanged for 2 consecutive months of training missions. This pill actually cost a sky-high 10,000 points, which was 20 times the price of the body tempering solution. In other words, if converted to the market price, it would cost more than 10 million points. At that time, the Xiao family had not started a business yet. These points were accumulated by his father and second uncle from completing one mission after another. In the end, they were wasted on him. Thinking of these past events, Xiao Chen suddenly felt a myriad of emotions. He thought of how good his second uncle had been to him and how much he had hoped that he would become a martial artist and become the pillar of the Xiao family. But now, why had he become so cold? Xiao Chen did not understand. "Father, I will look for you. I want everyone to know that it was not your mistake that led to the complete annihilation of the training team." Xiao Chen secretly swore. If it was the old Xiao Chen, even if he had the intention, he would not have the ability to do so. However, now that Xiao Chen was a level 4 refinement stage cultivator, his strength was shining brightly. It was only a matter of time before he caught up to his father's strength. "Elder Heaven Ancestor, thank you so much for possessing my body," Xiao Chen said sincerely. "Hee, now you know how good I am as a master." Elder Heaven Ancestor was very pleased with himself and enjoyed such flattery. "Boss, don't tell me you want to buy this body tempering pill?" Zhu Yingxiong saw that Xiao Chen was staring at the body tempering pill for a long time. Zhu Yingxiong's eyes widened and he asked, "This is something that only the nouveau riche can afford. Even if you and I are from aristocratic families, we need the family head's permission to buy one. It's 2F** king expensive." "Yes, I just want to take a look. With my physique, it's useless even if I eat it. I'll pass on this kind of luxury item." Xiao Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head. "Luxury item? You call this trash a luxury item? I say, Xiao Chen, are you kidding me? Your medicinal dregs are 100 times better than this thing." Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice rang in Xiao Chen's ears. Ugh. Xiao Chen did not expect that his words would make Elder Heaven Ancestor look down on him so much. However, thinking about it, it was indeed true. His medicinal dregs were of the highest quality when used to treat old Master Jin's illness. Even a second or third body tempering pill would not be able to achieve this effect. Yes, it's too extravagant. I didn't even use it. I only used 5 bottles of body tempering liquid. Zhu Yingxiong nodded. These are used by the nouveau riche martial artists. Our Zhu family doesn't have much money. I think Cheng Menjiang's family can definitely afford it. Zhu Yingxiong was speaking the truth. These aristocratic families had only started their businesses in recent years. However, no matter how big a city's business was, a few 100 million was the limit. It was impossible to spend tens of millions just to buy a pill. It was too extravagant. Moreover, most of the hundreds of millions of family assets were real estate. The liquid funds had to be used for business and to support the family's expenses. Generally, even the descendants of aristocratic families had to earn points to exchange for cultivation resources. There were very few people who actually spent a lot of money to exchange for cultivation resources, unless it was absolutely necessary. The two of them looked around casually. When they arrived at the medicinal herb counter, Xiao Chen saw the price of the heart-listening grass. It was 2 points or 3,000 yuan per stalk. It seemed that the task that Zhu Yingxiong accepted was probably issued by the Hong Chamber of Commerce. Buying low and selling high was the rule of businessmen. Although this seemed like a huge difference, thinking about it carefully, if a martial artist really needed the heart-listening grass, he wouldn't pick it himself just for a stalk of heart-listening grass. That was too troublesome. At this time, there was a sudden commotion in the shop. Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong turned around and saw a middle-aged man surrounded by a few staff members walking quickly into the market. "Medicine Master's son, it's Medicine Master's son!" Exclamations came from the market. Obviously, this middle-aged man's identity wasn't ordinary. The middle-aged man was wearing a Taoist robe. He had long eyebrows and a beard. His hair was tied up at the back of his head. He looked like an immortal. "What does this person do?" Xiao Chen couldn't help but ask. "Wow, boss, you don't even know Medicine Master's son. He's the chief alchemist of our Songming City's warrior market. Most of the pills here are made by Medicine Master's son." Zhu Yingxiong explained, "He's a very powerful person. The martial artists who look for him to refine pills have to queue up every day. Get out of the way." Zhu Yingxiong was beaming with joy as he told Xiao Chen about Medicine Master's son's deeds. Suddenly, the staff member who was clearing the way for Medicine Master's son pushed him and made him stumble. This staff member had the strength of level 5 inner force. Therefore, even Zhu Yingxiong couldn't withstand such a casual push. Thud, Zhu Yingxiong fell on his butt and sat on the ground. The staff member didn't even look at him and wanted to pass by. "What do you mean by this?" Xiao Chen blocked in front of the staff member coldly. This person's domineering attitude infuriated Xiao Chen. Anyway, his current identity was White Fox. He didn't intend to hide his strength. "What do I mean?" "He's blocking Medicine Master's son's way." The staff member replied coldly, "Move aside." "A dog relying on its master's power." Xiao Chen said faintly, "What if I don't move? We are the customers of the warrior market. Wherever we stand is public. What right do you have to chase us away? Move aside." The staff member was annoyed when he heard Xiao Chen's whining. He wanted to push Xiao Chen aside as well. However, he miscalculated this time. Xiao Chen stood still. "N?" The staff member was stunned. Chapter 166. Since Xiao Chen didn't move an inch, it meant that Xiao Chen wasn't weak. He was at least a stage 5 inner force warrior. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to do this. So he's a stage 5 inner force warrior. At this time, Medicine Master's son, who had been silent all this while, finally spoke. "But you're wrong to think that you have the capital to challenge me. Remember these two people's membership card numbers and don't let me see them again." "Yes." The stage 5 inner force worker snorted coldly. Although they couldn't start a fight with customers in the warrior guild, Medicine Master's son didn't even need to do anything. He could send these two people to the 18th level of hell with just a few words. Medicine Master's son's meaning was clear. He didn't allow Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong to enter the warrior's market anymore. This was equivalent to cutting off a martial artist's path of cultivation. It was very serious. "Medicine Master's son, why are you doing this? Why are you so calculative with a small martial artist? Besides, there are rules of the warrior guild here. It's not right to stop people from entering, right?" A middle-aged man beside Medicine Master's son said. This man wasn't dressed like an immortal. He was just wearing casual clothes. If one didn't know better, they would think that he was Medicine Master's son's manager. But in fact, he was another pharmacist in the warrior's market called Gu Wei. Medicine Master's son glanced at Gu Wei and said, "Medicine Master Gu, he challenged our dignity. If you don't punish him, will anyone be able to disrespect us in the future?" In fact, Gu Wei's alchemy skills weren't any worse than his. However, Gu Wei was a good person. He didn't know how to act cool and didn't know how to hype himself up. Therefore, most people knew Medicine Master's son but not Medicine Master Gu. In fact, many of the pills in the warrior's market were made by Medicine Master Gu. Of course, he was such a person, so he didn't care about it. This is also our people's fault. There were so many paths, but he insisted on walking this way. If you want him to give way, you can talk nicely. There's no need to push him. Gu Wei said, I think we should both take a step back and let it go. Gu Wei gave Xiao Chen a look. He could tell that Xiao Chen was unhappy with their actions. But now that Medicine Master's son was so domineering, if Xiao Chen didn't lower his head, there was a high chance that they would become enemies. It wasn't a good thing to offend a pharmacist. Then I'll give Medicine Master Gu some face. Whether he can enter the market or not, it's not up to me. However, if he wants to buy the pills that I make, there's no way he can. Today, I'll put my words out there. If anyone dares to sell them pills, they can pack up and leave. Alchemist's son said coldly and snorted. He ignored Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong and walked forward with large strides. Gu Wei was helpless, but there was nothing he could do. Who asked Medicine Master's son to be the chief pharmacist? He sighed and glanced at Xiao Chen before quickly catching up to them. Xiao Chen couldn't help but be speechless. He didn't expect Medicine Master's son to be such an arrogant and overbearing person. He was just trying to reason with him. He didn't expect this guy to not sell him the pills. But, then again, Xiao Chen wouldn't buy his trash. Unless there was something wrong with Xiao Chen's head, he wouldn't even buy it. Zhu Yingxiong saw that Xiao Chen stood up for him, and he was touched. Although he wondered why Medicine Master's son said that Xiao Chen was a stage 5 inner force warrior, he didn't think too much about it. He thought that Medicine Master's son had made a mistake. Most pharmacists didn't have any strength. Even if they were martial artists, they were at a lower level. They spent all their energy on alchemy and didn't have the heart to study cultivation. Anyway, the status of an pharmacist was very high, even higher than those stage 7 or 8 inner force warriors. As long as it was a martial artist, they would ask them to refine medicine. Therefore, even if they didn't have the strength, they still had the right to speak. There were already staff members secretly recording Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong's membership card numbers and codes. After all, they had to swipe their cards to enter the market. They could compare the video recordings to find out their identities. The other martial artists either sympathized with them or gloated over their misfortune. Anyway, it didn't matter to them. In short, these two wouldn't be able to buy any pills here in the future. Xiao Chen frowned. This Medicine Master's son was so arrogant and despotic. It seemed that the profession of pharmacist was very popular here. However, it wasn't surprising. These pills were extremely expensive and often couldn't be bought with money. Not only did they need points to buy them, but they might also be out of stock. There was demand but no supply. This also caused the status of pharmacists to be respected. In fact, when it came to real strength, pharmacists were definitely not as good as ordinary martial artists. However, they weren't powerful themselves, but their followers were extremely powerful. Boss, I'm really sorry. I caused you to stand up for me, but Medicine Master's son bore a grudge against me. Zhu Yingxiong climbed up and smiled bitterly at Xiao Chen. Fortunately, our identities are fake. We can change again. Otherwise, we'll be screwed. Forget it. I don't have the money to buy pills, and I don't need to. Xiao Chen shook his head and said, it doesn't matter. Let's go look at something else. Seeing that Xiao Chen was so open-minded, Zhu Yingxiong didn't have anything else to say. It would seem a little pretentious and hypocritical. Anyway, he had already thought it through. If Xiao Chen wanted to buy something, he would buy it here as the young master of the Zhu family. The two of them walked in front, and some people behind them were pointing at them. They all thought that Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong were pretending to be calm. However, what they didn't know was that Xiao Chen really didn't care, and Zhu Yingxiong had other identities. There was nothing to worry about. Auction? Let's go and take a look. Xiao Chen had an idea and walked to the entrance of a hall not far away. Zhu Yingxiong didn't have anything to do, so he quickly followed. I'm sorry, both of you. Please show me your membership card. At the entrance of the auction, a staff member stopped Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong and reminded them politely. Xiao Chen and Zhu Yingxiong both took out their membership cards and handed them over. The staff member took it and swiped it, but he shook his head and said, "I'm sorry, both of you. Your membership card level is too low. You can't participate in the auction." "Oh? What do you mean? Is there a need for a level?" Xiao Chen asked with some doubts. "Yes, you must have completed the second-level warrior trial mission or spend more than 10 million yuan in the market to enter," the staff member explained. "It turns out to be like this." Xiao Chen nodded. "What if I want to auction something?" "There are no restrictions on the auction items. As long as you can take out something that can enter the eyes of the appraiser, then you can participate in the auction. The seller doesn't have the previous level restriction." The staff member explained, "Mr. White Fox, do you need to auction something?" "I don't need it for the time being. I'm just asking." Xiao Chen took back his membership card. He hadn't thought about whether to auction his dregs. After all, this kind of thing was likely to cause some unnecessary trouble. Xiao Chen didn't want to expose his identity for the time being. After strolling around with Zhu Yingxiong for a while, the two of them left the martial artist market. "Boss, where are you going?" "I'll give you a ride." Zhu Yingxiong opened the door and said, "Let's go back to the previous place. I'm going to see Tang Tang," Xiao Chen said after getting in the car. "Tang Tang?" Zhu Yingxiong was slightly stunned. "Who is Tang Tang? Is it the one from the Tang family, and the fat girl next to me?" "She's not as fat as you," Xiao Chen said. "Tang Tang is my desk mate and also my partner who sells fried dough sticks in the morning market." "What the F***ck? Boss, tell me the truth. Do you have a crush on Tang Tang? Do you want to develop a relationship with her?" Zhu Yingxiong's brain suddenly thought of a dirty place. "Don't talk nonsense. We are buddies." Xiao Chen said, "It's just that she caught a cold today. I took care of her in the morning. I'll go and see if she's better in the evening." "Is that so? Is there really no relationship?" Zhu Yingxiong still had some doubts. "I really don't." Xiao Chen shook his head. "It's not like you don't know who I like." "Well, boss, do you still like Shen Jingxian? Her stupid fiancé, Chen Jinkuan, is dead, but Chen Jinpeng, the traitor, got a ready-made advantage of her. She's really lucky." Zhu Yingxiong said, "This kind of thing is not something we can control. Just like when your fiancé was Qing Menjing, Chao Yuliang couldn't do anything even if he was angry. So, I have nothing to do with Tang Tang." Xiao Chen gave an example. It was nothing more than to show that he and Tang Tang were innocent. But, was it really innocent? Xiao Chen himself felt that the friendship seemed to have begun to change a little. He had to control it in the future. When the car was about to reach the morning street, suddenly a Lexus LX 570 overtook from the side and caught up with Zhu Yingxiong. In front of Zhu Yingxiong's car, the car slammed on the brake, trying to force Zhu Yingxiong to stop. Zhu Yingxiong was driving a sports car, and the car coming over was an SUV. If Zhu Yingxiong's reaction was a little slower, the car would be directly inserted under the chassis of the SUV. In that case, both of them would be miserable. Xiao Chen was already a cultivator at the 4th level of the refinement stage. He might be fine, but Zhu Yingxiong would definitely die. And it was obvious that the car in front of them did it on purpose. It was not an accident. Who would do such a thing, and what was the purpose? The first person that came to Xiao Chen's mind was Chao Yuliang. Before, Chao Yuliang was not reconciled and wanted to kill him in this way. Otherwise, Xiao Chen really couldn't think of anyone else who would do it. Lu Zhenming was too busy to please him now, let alone kill him. While thinking, a man got off the Lexus. When he saw this man, Xiao Chen felt that he was familiar for a moment. Where had he seen this man before? However, Zhu Yingxiong's face showed an expression of understanding. He suddenly shouted to Xiao Chen, "Boss, run. This man is looking for me." "Looking for you? What do you mean?" Xiao Chen suddenly froze. He had always thought that this man was targeting him. Chapter 167. Xiao Chen had offended a lot of people recently. Why would it be targeted at Zhu Yingxiong? And it seemed that Zhu Yingxiong knew this person. Boss, there's no time to explain. F***ck, I didn't expect that bastard to be so ruthless. He dared to send someone to mess with me. Mother ***ker, if I can escape this, I will kill him. Zhu Yingxiong cursed as he quickly reversed the car, trying to avoid the man. The man saw that Zhu Yingxiong actually reversed the car and ran away. He couldn't help but be stunned, but then he got on the Lexus again and began to turn around, ready to chase after Zhu Yingxiong. And Zhu Yingxiong also took advantage of this opportunity to reverse the car, stepped on the accelerator to the end, and fled quickly. What the hell is going on? What is this person doing? Why is he chasing after you? Xiao Chen was really puzzled. Zhu Yingxiong didn't seem like a person who offended people. A playboy's bodyguard from another city. F***ck, that playboy wanted to chase Kerlin, so I beat him up. How dare a playboy from another city be so arrogant in Songning City? Isn't that asking for trouble? Zhu Yingxiong said while driving. Later, he was picked up by his bodyguard. I thought this matter was over. I didn't expect him to ask his bodyguard to come after me. Kerlin? Xiao Chen was stunned. He didn't expect that this matter was really related to him. When he left from number 1 middle school, he asked Zhu Yingxiong to help take care of Kerlin. Zhu Yingxiong did his duty, but he didn't expect to offend a playboy from another city. It was just that Xiao Chen didn't expect this playboy from another city to be so vengeful. He asked his bodyguard to stop Zhu Yingxiong. This was a bit too daring. Generally speaking, if it wasn't his territory, he could only pinch his nose and accept it. Moreover, it wasn't a big deal, so there was no need to take it to heart. You think it's as simple as beating me up? Does Kerlin know? Xiao Chen asked. I don't know. This guy was asking the students in the school about it, and I heard him. I was afraid that I couldn't control this kid. After beating him up for a while, he still had evil intentions, so I kicked him in the J8. He probably won't be able to have sex for half a year, Zhu Yingxiong said. Pfft. Xiao Chen could not help but be speechless after hearing this. No wonder this rich kid from another city took it to heart and wanted to settle the score with Zhu Yingxiong. It turned out that he was kicked into a eunuch. Even if he could recover, he would probably not be able to get out of bed for half a year. This was really ruthless. Sigh, it's all my fault for being impulsive and not considering the consequences. Now that I think about it, if someone kicked me like this, would also go crazy. Zhu Yingxiong smiled bitterly and said, Boss, find a place to get off first. At most, I'll get a beating or a kick. It'll be bad if I get you into trouble. You're being chased because of me. Can I get off? Xiao Chen shook his head and said, Moreover, I'm your boss. If your little brother is in danger, I have to help you. Otherwise, what kind of boss am I? Moreover, 2 against 1, we might not necessarily be at a disadvantage. Boss, now is not the time to talk about brotherhood. This person is coming with bad intentions. Zhu Yingxiong said, this person is a martial artist at the peak of the 4th stage of inner force. He's too awesome. 3 against 1 is not his opponent. The peak of the 4th stage of inner force? After Xiao Chen heard it, the corner of his mouth slightly raised. This was a good opportunity to show off his strength. So he said, it's not a good idea to chase him like this. Find a place where no one is around and park. Let's see what kind of tricks he has up his sleeves. You can hide for the first time, but you can't hide forever. You can't hide every day, right? That's right, okay. Although Zhu Yingxiong's car was a sports car, it couldn't run in the city at all. There were traffic lights everywhere, so he could only drive to remote places. Not far from the morning market street, there was a shanty town. In fact, this used to be the urban-rural fringe of Songning City. However, in recent years, the city had developed rapidly. The nearby towns had been merged into the city, but it was impossible to build buildings everywhere. There were still shanty towns here. However, one of the shanty towns was ready to be demolished. The residents inside had moved away, so there was no one around. The place that Zhu Yingxiong chose was there. Zhu Yingxiong's choice to drive the car to this area suddenly made the people in the Lexus a little puzzled. Judging from Zhu Yingxiong's previous escape posture, he should be very afraid. Why did he still drive the car here? There was no one here. Wasn't this the rhythm of courting death? Could it be a mistake? It couldn't be. Zhu Yingxiong was a local. It was impossible for him to make a mistake. This made him puzzled. But even if he couldn't figure it out, Lu Jianbiao's mission here this time was to kill Zhu Yingxiong and avenge young Master Jin. Therefore, the more remote the location was, the more advantageous it was for him. He was also afraid of attracting the attention of the Zhu family. And in this remote place, it was easy to dispose of the body. Even if the Zhu family discovered it in the future, they might not know who did it. Without evidence, it wouldn't implicate young Master Jin. In order to destroy the body, this Lexus was brand new. It didn't even have a brand. Moreover, it was a smuggled model from the Middle East. Even if they wanted to investigate, they wouldn't be able to find the culprit. Zhu Yingxiong, get out of the car. Young Master Jin asked me to take your dog life. At the same time, I'm warning you. In your next life, if you don't have the strength, don't be too arrogant. Otherwise, you won't even know how you die. Lu Jianbiao parked the car behind Zhu Yingxiong's Jaguar. Then, he got out of the car and said calmly, "Take my life?" Zhu Yingxiong's heart suddenly jumped. In his opinion, this person would at most teach him a lesson. He didn't expect that he would take his life. Is he joking to scare people, or is he really going to do it? Xiao Chen had been wearing the white fox mask along the way and hadn't taken it off. Zhu Yingxiong hadn't gotten out of the car yet. He opened the car door first and got out. He stood calmly in front of Lu Jianbiao. That young Master Jin, he asked for it. Are you sure you want to stand up for him? Who are you? Lu Jianbiao didn't expect that Xiao Chen wouldn't run. Instead, he would get out of the car to stand up for Zhu Yingxiong. This surprised him. In his opinion, Xiao Chen might be Zhu Yingxiong's scoundrel friend, but he definitely wouldn't be a bodyguard. If he were a bodyguard, he wouldn't have run away previously. Instead, he would have gotten out of the car and fought with him. Lin's house was in Shandy Town. It was just the shanty town that hadn't been demolished yet. It was just next to the shanty town that was about to be demolished. Sometimes, Lin envied the residents of shanty town that had been demolished. In the near future, they would be able to live in buildings, while Lin's family had to live in a bungalow that was cold in winter and hot in summer. It was just that her house wasn't in the demolition area, so there was no other way. Every night, after returning from the morning market, Lin would place the plank noodle stall in a neighbor's yard. Because there were a lot of things in the plank noodle stall, it would take up too much space in his yard. Also, because the neighbor's house was going to be demolished, he had already rented a house elsewhere. The bungalow was temporarily empty. Therefore, Lin would place things in his house so that it wouldn't be a hindrance to others. Just like every day, Lin placed the plank noodle stall in the neighbor's yard. Just as she was about to leave, she heard the sound of a car engine coming from outside. Lin was shocked and stopped in her tracks. Almost no one drove in Shandy Town. Those who could afford a car didn't live in Shandy Town. So, there was still a car coming here so late at night. This made Lin vigilant. She subconsciously felt that there was a bad guy. Therefore, Lin didn't go out but looked outside through the gap of the door. When she saw two cars stop here one after another, then, a person got out of each car. One of them was wearing a fox mask. This made Lin subconsciously think of the word criminal. At this moment, she didn't dare to go out casually. Who knew what these two people were doing here? Lin held her breath and didn't dare to make any movement, Boss, you should go. Zhu Yingxiong saw that Xiao Chen actually got out of the car to stand up for him. He was touched, but he was deeply anxious. He was very clear about Xiao Chen's strength level. Even if he had reached the level of a stage 1 inner force martial artist, he had no chance of winning against Lu Dianbiao, who was at the peak of stage 4 inner force. You are his boss? Lu Dianbiao was suddenly stunned. He had previously investigated Zhu Yingxiong's identity. Otherwise, he wouldn't have known about Zhu Yingxiong's Jaguar sports car. However, he didn't know that Zhu Yingxiong had a powerful boss. Yes. Xiao Chen nodded. If you leave, this matter will be over. If you stay, you will die in vain. Are you trying to scare me? Lu Dianbiao was suddenly amused. Let's not talk about the fact that I didn't know he had a boss like you. Even if you were his boss, are you sure you would stand up for him? Are you an idiot? As he spoke, Lu Dianbiao waved his fist in the air, directly revealing his strength of the peak of stage 4 inner force. Peak of stage 4 inner force, I already know. Xiao Chen nodded. He indeed knew long ago. Zhu Yingxiong had told him. Huh. I remember now. It seems that this kid has a useless boss named Xiao Chen, who has been driven out of the Xiao family. Are you that Xiao Chen? Lu Dianbiao suddenly thought of something and said, You are wearing a mask. Are you too ashamed to face others? Are you that Xiao Chen? Xiao Chen was a little surprised. He didn't expect this person to investigate so thoroughly. He knew that Zhu Yingxiong had a boss named Xiao Chen. However, was Xiao Chen a useless person? Was he really too ashamed to face others? Originally, Xiao Chen wore a mask because he didn't want others to recognize him. Even if he taught this Lu Dianbiao a lesson today, he didn't intend to let him know his identity. But now, Xiao Chen had changed his mind. This Lu Dianbiao kept saying that he wanted Zhu Yingxiong's life, so there was no need for Xiao Chen to keep him alive. Whether he was standing up for his master or something else, helping a tyrant was already unforgivable in Xiao Chen's eyes. So even if his identity was exposed, Xiao Chen didn't care. He just smiled noncommittally. You know quite a lot, but sometimes, the more you know, the faster you die. You're tuning into the Journey of the Soul YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.